Yo, look at this. Welcome in, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I'm Anthony,
Are we live?
and this is
Hello.
Princess PJs. Hi.
Hi.
Look at that. I think
Holy
audio's
moly, this is
working.
wild.
Video's working. Look at us figure things out. Two middle-aged people figuring out the internet.
I know.
Hi, everybody. Welcome in. How's it going? I don't know who got first. Addie got first. Addie, congrats on being first. This might be loud. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this, Princess. You can't hear that unless you're watching the stream.
No. You haven't shared your sounds with me.
I don't know how to share my sounds with you.
Yeah, I don't know how to tell you to do that either.
Sharn just cheered one bit to say hi. Hi, Sharn. Do you want to cheer a bit to say hi to Princess PJs too? I'll take that penny and I'll send it to her. Kelly Maldonado, it's good to see you. JD, I think JD was officially the first one to be here today, but that's okay. That's okay. Mr. Al, hi. Hi, Lindsay. Lindsay, thank you for being present. We appreciate that. We're super excited for the day. It's gonna be a really good time. We're gonna be kicking off our brand new Draw This in Your Style challenge with Princess PJs. We're gonna give everybody. We'll talk about it a little bit. There it is. Shart says, "Hi, PP. Hi, love you."
Hi. Oh, I wish I could hear the sounds. It's gonna be weird.
It is gonna be weird. I don't know if I'm able to share that with you or not, because then you would end up hearing me double. I bet there's a way, and I bet Lindsay Badger knows how to do it. Hi,
Yeah, maybe.
Leath. Alva, welcome in, Lady Liz. There's so many people. Hi, Sarah. Sarah Montana. I was at the dentist today, and I saw your incredibly freaking sweet note, Sarah Montana. I didn't have a chance because I was getting a crown put on, and they had to numb me up, and it was a whole thing. But thank you for your sweet note. I really appreciate it. Hi, Amy Jo. JD. Did Anthony even email Princess yesterday? No. I asked Princess about 12 minutes ago if she could do this. Weekend, it's good to see you. Raccoon. There's so many people here. Morningstar, Dazzle Pants, Jazabelle. The whole crew. Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Princess PJs, take it away. No, I'm kidding.
Hi, Miss Princess Morningstar. Hi, Lady Liz.
Oh, have you ever been put on the spot when you do a dual podcast or one of these streams with somebody that then they're like, now you talk for a while?
I used to run my own show on internet radio. I had a radio show and I had guests on a couple of times. And this one time, I don't know what happened to me, but I was like, okay, I'm going to do an intro and I'm going to give you guys some time to adjust. So don't worry about, being ready to speak and stuff. And then the show started and 3 seconds later, I was like, so your turn to talk. Why did I do that? I did exactly the opposite of what I said I was going to do.
Yeah, it's super normal. It's super normal. We go into that kind of fight or flight mode.
I froze.
Lots of people are saying hi to you. You seem to be very popular today.
Hi. We're here for Princess. Thank you. Oh, apparently I'm a lot louder than you. Should I stop shouting?
I can turn you down a little
very
bit.
Quietly.
I'm monitoring her audio. How loud is it, guys? How much? Dana, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Jack, how much quieter should I make PJs? How many decibels do you think? I'm monitoring it. It's not loud in my ears, but if you guys think it's pretty loud compared to my voice, I can pull her audio down just a little bit.
I can also stop shouting right into the microphone.
Can you actually turn her up?
Can you turn her up, actually?
Okay.
Don't listen to Maddie.
It's so rude.
Maddie's the worst.
So rude. Unbelievable.
Miss Shart says I sound balanced.
Yeah, you sound good. I'm going to turn you down a couple of decibels. We're going to go right there. PJs, can you give us a mic check?
Mic check. 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me? I'm yelling. No, I'm not. I don't know. How's it going?
That should be better. That is where my mic is set to. Yeah, I figured.
It's so weird. My TV kept playing the VR audio. What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know either. Dana Goldbreath, thank you again for the 7 months. It's wild. Dana, does it really feel like it's been 7 months? Seriously, I appreciate it very, very, very much. I'm trying to catch up on chat here too. So I apologize that we're late today. It's well, if you were here earlier, like JD was, you would have seen it was all my fault. I went in today to go get my crown on my tooth. I've never had to do that before. Another attended Tweeby. You're still quiet. I'm quiet compared to her. I can move her down. I can move her down. Okay, move you up. I'm good where I'm at. Otherwise, you guys are gonna. I'll start redlining if I go higher. I'm in a pretty sweet pocket, but I'll turn her down.
ABCs.
Fourth on the U, turning up.
Next time, won't you sing with me?
It's so weird though that because my audio is the same as it always is, so nothing's different because I'm pulling just my raw audio and pushing it through.
Maybe it's half the juice is coming through mine because there's two of us now.
Yeah, I see you starting to redline there a little bit, so I'm gonna pull that down. You might have to. Hi, Cart. Welcome in. I'll keep monitoring.
Don't you start.
Yeah,
I can move my microphone further away. I don't know.
You're better right there, so
okay.
You should be okay. And then you guys will be able to turn all of us out because I don't want to blow out anybody's eardrums today unless your name is Jack.
I do.
Yeah, see, there it is. We'll have to put the limiter on her and everything. Nerd, welcome in. Hi, Kitty Bell. It's good to see everybody. Hi, Laura. Laura asked, how was the crown process? It was not great. Honestly, not great for me. I am phobic of the dentist. I don't really like it. I don't do well with it. The crown, like when my tooth broke off, they had to. It was either he was trying to save me the trouble of going through a root canal, so he really had to do some work. Unfortunately, made it really sensitive, and so it just has not been great. But luckily, I don't have any sensitivity to cold right now. It's that he fixed all of that. The crown is on, but it was about 40 minutes of just not pleasantness, and then I was telling Kelly. He had a numb, because Kelly used to work in the dental business. He had to numb sort of this entire portion of my mouth to be able to do what he needed to do, and I couldn't talk for until maybe about an hour and a half ago. So I reached out to PJs earlier. I was like, hey, I don't know if I can do this today. I don't know.
My mouth is numb.
Yeah, my mouth is numb. I don't know if I can literally do this today. So,
I said, you can do it. It's fine.
I'd be biting my tongue the entire freaking time. Now that we've kind of normalized audio, do we feel like she's better? Do we feel like we're both kind of on the same level and that you can just turn us both up?
Could you hear me?
Yeah, rip to my ears, says Kitty. I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for her behavior. Hi, Justano. Yeah, I'm reading. Yeah, the injection spots hurt. Yeah, it's much better. Good.
Ooh.
She's much better always. Dana, that doesn't seem nice to me.
Wow.
That doesn't seem nice. So we've got quite the agenda. The stream will probably be about the same amount of time, which is good for Princess PJ, so she doesn't have to put up with me for that much longer today. But we are absolutely launching the brand new Draw This in Your Style challenge. So Princess PJs is our celebratory victim of this today. And so that the image that you see all the way down at the bottom, past, Sarah, just point down, right there. That is the image that we are all going to be drawing. So I'm going to be drawing it. You're going to be drawing. If you've never been a part of a Draw This in Your Style challenge, it's super cool. So you don't have to feel like you have to draw this thing exactly the way it is, but you can. So what I like to say is if there's one part of this or two parts, or maybe it's a color scheme, maybe it's the hair flip, draw whatever really comes to your mind, using this as the jump off and the inspiration. We will be doing this over the next 30 days here on my channel, kind of once or twice every week. We'll pop into the Discord. We'll take a look at what people are posting. And then on July 30th, which I'm pretty sure is a Tuesday, we will be reuniting, as long as Princess has time on her calendar. We'll be reuniting for a finished art showcase and going through all of the final submissions. And then that day will actually be the day before I launch the art book Kickstarter. So it should be in 30 days from now, a pretty fun day or two. I hope. God, I hope. Does that sound good?
Geek, the answer to your question is not yet, but there's still time.
Yes, Thursday's a Tuesday. And then Kelly's got everything updated in the exclamation point, draw this in your style, just in case you get turned around on anything or if somebody comes in late to the stream. I'm not sure. I'd probably have to send this image to Kelly. I don't think Kelly's uploaded it to the Discord because I haven't sent it to her yet. So I will try to do that here in a couple of minutes so we can get the full-blown image. And
Hi, Egbert.
Hello, Egg. Do you think Egbert wears the mask like during the day right now? Like just when he's not streaming?
100% all of the time.
Okay. Yeah.
His family's a little bit weirded out by it by now.
What do you think?
Is there like a follower goal for the face D reveal? Does it go back around?
Yeah, I don't know if has he said?
I'm curious.
I am too. Kelly, I am trying to send you this image real quick. And
my family hasn't seen my face in weeks, says Egbert.
Your family is so lucky.
Yeah, reface reveal. Reface D reveal. Something like that.
Sorry, my
Ulysses think this is adorable. Thank you.
So
I saw somebody say that there was a lot to process on the screen, so I made mine really small just to like lower the load, but I'll bring it back.
Kelly, you've got that in your messages now. Yeah, so Princess actually gave us 3 different images, and there was I wonder, can you bring those images up? PPs?
There's that one, and then there's this one.
Oh, I love this one. I love the hips on this one.
Yeah, she's cute.
She's
and then
really
there's this one. I think as far as like art style wise, I feel like this one's my favorite because I just got a lot more bold with the lines, confident with the lines. I like that.
Yeah, I do too.
But I'm always experimenting, so I don't know.
I like the thick and thin on what would be her actual right thigh. From the knee, you can see that kind of where the line thickened up a little bit, which is really cool. Yeah, when I was trying to figure out like what the right piece would be, so we showed some of these test images off. I don't know, a couple of weeks ago before vacation, and everyone's like, I like all of them, and it was really
that
hard.
was when they were a sketch.
Yeah, and now that they're all done, they're all really great. Going to the image that's down below, so I always try to find something a little bit different in kind of every one of these draw this in your style challenges that we do. Hey, Polly, thank you for the 10-month resub, dude. I really appreciate it. Hope you're having a great day. But I really wanted to try to push myself a little bit on this one. I think there's really, on the image that we're going to be focused on, there's really great rhythm. I love how her shoulders and her back are all facing in this direction. Her head is moved up this way. I looked at those fingers and I was like, oh God, those fingers terrify me. I don't know if I can figure out how to draw those fingers. And I really love, because I really struggle with overlapping shapes.
Oh yeah, and you're struggling with foreshortening, and that's kind of what's going on there, right?
Yep, constantly. Yeah, foreshortening is just a thing that my brain just doesn't understand sometimes. God dang it.
Anthony is a massive D-face. Get wrecked, get wrecked, get wrecked, get wrecked, get wrecked, get wrecked.
We're just getting some getting wrecks here right now.
I can't hear it.
Get wrecked,
you
get
might have to have
wrecked,
the stream up just a tiny bit.
get wrecked, get wrecked, get wrecked. Take another
It'll still be
stupid
delayed. It's not the
absence,
same.
you Brillo pad.
The message was pretty simple. Ultimately, it took a turn when it said, take another stupid long absence, you Brillo pad.
Wow.
that one felt personal. That one felt like the person who really missed me the most over my vacation. That's probably what that was. Mal, it's good to see you. Polly, thank you again. Ship Poster, thank you for scaring me. And Cream of Egbert, thank you for having a face that's hidden. What was your, PrincessPJs, what was your biggest inspiration with this batch of images? Like, what were you thinking about the most, or who were you looking at, or what were you trying to accomplish with all of these?
Well, you had asked for an Elvgren style classic pinup.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but the first thing that came to mind was something beachy, I guess because it's June, July, summertime.
Yep.
And I am very much driven by reference. So a lot of these were from just like kind of what you do with your figure drawing
Yep.
streams is find an image and then push pose and tweak it until it's, something different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what most of these were.
I think when Princess PJs and I met each other years ago. Hi, Alec. Alec, thank you for the resub. I hope you're feeling good, man. How are you? Alec Obert, appreciate you. I think when you and I met a long time ago, I think it was pretty apparent that we had this sort of mutual admiration for 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s pinups, Gil Elverin, that sort of thing. Jack Davis, the masters when it comes to not only pinups but to caricatures and stuff like that. You put together, and we were talking about this before stream, but you put together kind of a list of like your inspirations, your references, your heroes, and that sort of thing. Would you be willing?
I did.
Yeah. Would you be willing to walk everybody through? Hey, JB, what's up, man?
Sure. I've done this a couple of times actually. So I've got a couple different versions that are like some of the same stuff, and some of the different stuff. So this is the newest one. I think I started this one 2 years ago and I updated it at some point a couple months ago. I don't remember. But yeah, wait, I've got it in zoom mode and now I can't get out. I am falling and I can't get up. Help.
Yeah.
Help, it's stuck. My iPad's frozen.
It'll get there at some point. You're also working on an iPad from 2013, so it's probably it's probably the culprit. It's probably the culprit.
The shade from this man.
Dan Deemer says, Wheels, why are you so quiet? Was I being quiet because I was listening to Princess PJs, or is my audio just low for some reason?
Is the volume still unbalanced?
I don't know. My audio is just the way. Oh, I see what he. Screw you, Dan. You're an audio. My audio has not changed. My audio has not changed at all. Ridiculous. Is your thing fixed?
Let me check. Hang on. I might have to. Hang on. Hold, please.
Well, Dan Deemer, thank you for your 15 months of pressing my buttons. I appreciate that. Hi, Mud. I did see that Alec Obert said that they were trying to crawl out of the mud, and then Mudworks started typing. Can't believe that you've tried to trip Alec up, Miranda. It's just how it goes. Hi, Badly. Badly, real quick, while my guest has broken, I wanted to show you this. Look at this. So this is going to be housing my. It's not totally ready to go yet, but this is going to be housing my brand new Badly paints. And I need to get some magnets, and then we need to make a little mixing tray in here. But I was at an old toy store, just like a used toy store the other day, and they just had this sitting right there. The guy wanted virtually nothing for it. I was like, "Fine, let's go." Hi, Nancy. So, but yeah, I was so excited to see. I love vintage Disney and Mickey Mouse, and then the fact that it was just a Mickey Mouse's paint box. And so, a couple of folks said that they might be able to help me use either a 3D printer or a laser cutter to cut a piece of porcelain or some sort of mixing material, so I can put that there. So I'm super pumped about it. We're going to be swatching these later this week. Yeah, Dan, I've turned Princess down a couple of times. I'm monitoring it, and I don't know why she's so loud compared to me. It's really goofy. But if it gets worse, let me know, and I'll try to fix it. While he is pressing your buttons on the computer, the sound is unbalanced. So don't let him be mean. Well, here, let me go in. We always have to do this when we. Egbert, thank you for your cheer.
Isn't technology wonderful?
It is. Let me go back into monitor mode.
So this is
And
an exercise that I think everybody should do, is just go grab a bunch of your favorite artist inspirations and put them on a screen, canvas, something, I don't know, and like make a note of what your favorite thing is about each of them. So that's what this is. So Anthony asked me to share some of my inspirations. So have you heard of Alessandro Barbucci? I think he's Italian or Spanish or French or something. But he made the Echo graphic novels and Sky Doll, and he's a traditional illustrator. He does a lot of watercolor and ink, and I'm obsessed. So that's what this first one is. It's not Polish, but yeah, I don't know. He's in Europe somewhere. He's multilingual, so it's hard to tell. And then the other one that I took a lot of inspiration from very early on was Gretel Lusky, who I just found on Pinterest, really. But she does a lot of these really fantastical, really colorful, lots of mermaids and fairies and stuff like that. But I just really loved how she kind of cartoons while still being kind of realistic. So that's one. And then we were talking about Blitz Cadet yesterday, right? So that's been on my list. Freaking love his line work. And like with a lot of these, I find that I would like try to mimic or do a study of one of the artists that I like and completely fail, just totally miserably fail. Like I cannot do it. And then I don't know, like a year later, I'll look back or I'll look at my current stuff that I'm doing now and I'll be like, oh wait, some of that is probably now kind of bleeding through,
yeah.
it seems like. So doing the studies and just like soaking it in, somehow I think it does eventually come through.
Yeah.
But at the time I can't do it.
What do you like the most about Brett Parsons?
So what I wrote here is I love the bold outer lines and the inner detailed line work. I think mostly it's line work, but
Can you move
also
that? Can you move that over a little bit? Sorry.
Sorry. Also, I think the expressions on the characters that he draws are just priceless.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's amazing.
he's-
But like all the detail.
He's got this awesome. So the way that he illustrates is so bold and graphic at the same time. So not only can he do single illustrations, comic book work, but I feel like so much of the stuff that he does, because of the way that the graphic bold lines work, is so perfect for merchandise too. And I think for some of us illustrators who put lots of little details and stuff in, it's hard to merchandise or put your stuff on like shirts and t-shirts and hats and stuff like that, because our illustrations maybe are a little too detailed or the line work's a little bit too small. He, for some reason, has that perfect blend, and I just find it really impressive.
It's incredible. It's so inspiring. I don't even know.
Yep.
But I like the little details and the little flowy organic shapes and all that.
Yeah.
The big old eyes of this one. So this is another one that I just found on Pinterest. I don't know who this person is or like where they post these days, but I just found myself repeatedly drawn to their work, and all I know about them is that their name is Fukari.
Yeah. God, that's
it's just gorgeous.
That feels like very French. Like some just, really interesting French illustrator. That's what that one reminds me of. Hi, Zach. Welcome in. Guys, if I missed saying hi, I apologize. Sometimes it gets a little bit crazy trying to keep track of everything.
Hi, Zach.
Hi, Valley.
And then Anthony asked me to share what some of my inspirations are, so we're going through that.
Yeah.
Alphonse Mucha. So sometimes that comes through or is an inspiration for me, that like Art Nouveau. And again, like what you were just saying about Brett Parsons, it's kind of like that graphic combined with the detailed, that balance. I kind of see that in Mucha stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Who's the one in the middle of the screen right now with Home? That's not Mucha, is it?
Oh, sorry.
So you guys have to understand,
forgetting.
before the
I'm
stream,
cropped.
before the stream, she said, hey, because I was like, how much real estate do you want on your canvas? And she goes, how about between the arrow and the paintbrush on Procreate, and I'll just have everything in between there. And I was like, great. And then she gave me a rash of shit because I couldn't figure out how to do that. And
No, you
now,
figured it out fine. But
and
then you're not sharing your screen with me, so I can't see what you see until 3 seconds later.
that's fair. That's fair.
This is Mucha. Sorry. Please forgive me.
Just go between the things, you know?
I know, right? I know, right? Anyway, the person that I was sharing while I was talking about Mucha is Earl Hurst.
Yeah. That
So I just have to
one,
wait for my stream to catch up
I know.
and make sure that I'm centered. It's a problem.
I'm trying to save my frames on this poor Macintosh that I own. This to me is just I don't know who this person is or what year they were born, but for the love of
this
God.
is like 1930s.
Oh my God! So it's
This
Earl
is like
Hurst.
golden age editorial illustration. Yeah. Holy moly, I love it so much.
Okay, so if you look at this image, like what stands out to you?
1944. So I love the way that the line work is practically a doodle.
Yeah.
Like it just feels really loose and energetic and gestural and wild. And then you're combining that with, these really beautiful soft watercolors, and then just like the cute cartoony facial features. You'll see that a lot in his stuff. He painted a lot of lifestyle and editorial imagery is what I've seen. And so it's always these like women in ball gowns and their gentlemen friends in this party or whatever from 1944. But they always look so cute and cartoony and just adorable.
Yeah, this work feels so good. Hi Okami, welcome in. You know who this reminds me of is sort of the precursor to Sneed, who did the cartoons for Playboy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I have the internet search
I know
up,
who you're talking about.
Yep. Well, I showed that book off on stream one day, which was a tough proposition because there was an extreme amount of nipples that I had to censor out. But just the way that the flowiness of like the face and the very, very, very distinct facial features, tapered in waists, big busts, stuff like that.
Definitely the same era. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Sneed,
like that one, the pink back. Yeah, it's exactly. You went to the exact one I was going to point out. That one's been on my Pinterest boards for a long time.
Yeah. This would be my goal. This would be the thing that I would like if I could get to this. I would. Yeah. That
stuff's a huge inspiration for me too. And I think if you can see any of that bleeding through in my work, then I am doing something right. You know.
Dan said that I would have only looked at the Playboy for the illustrations. No, Dan, it was for the naked women, and then the illustrations were a secondary to that. Just want to be clear.
This is in no like chronological order or anything. So this one you sent to me, actually.
Yeah, it's my friend Rob. Wheeler. Hell yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Look at those lines. Oh my God, he's amazing.
He really introduced me to him. He really is. He's so Rob lives in Wisconsin, and he's the most unassumingly nice, polite person. And he and I have had long conversations about how Star Wars is the best thing on the planet, but it also sucks so much. And we have bitched about the Rise of the Skywalker movie for tens of hours. But he is one of those illustrators to me, like when I really started to take apart and really think about his artwork, everything changed. Because of this guy, like everything that I was doing completely changed. I'll never be on his level.
Yeah.
I just don't
no,
have
I
that
can see
kind
a lot
skill.
of him in what you do for sure.
And you know what it is? It's the line work. It's the repetitive
the contour lines.
Yep. And then what I did is because I didn't want to be him, but I started adapting what he'll do with some of the tapered, following the form, and I put that stuff into my black line work, like my big paths of black, and so I don't use that kind of stuff unless it's black. So I took what he did, inverted it, and then made it my own. But yeah, he's super inspiring. I love that guy.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah.
So you go from something like, say, this to something like Say This. I didn't really think about what I was doing when I put this together.
Well,
So
again, this
these
is
are
like,
my inspirations.
yeah, this is an
what makes
inspiration board.
me.
Yeah. This is an inspiration board. You've got to be able to mix and match all of the things. So Ren and Stimpy,
Funny.
old school Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah,
And-
especially the gross out close-ups.
Yep.
Just the way that that's rendered in like beautiful, loving detail.
Yeah.
The most horrible thing that you can possibly do.
Yeah, absolutely. Washing Machine, thank you so much for the follow. Dari, welcome in. Yeah, when they zoomed in on Ren and Stimpy, that was just a whole different world for me. Like the animation in general was great, but those gross out close up moments, I was just like, I'd never really seen anything like that before. I don't know who Bill
Blew
Ward
my
is.
mind.
I'm gonna do
Blew
some
my
Googling.
child mind.
Yeah.
You don't know who Bill Ward is?
Oh my God,
So, like-
Anthony! Have you never seen The Godfather before? Sorry, I yelled.
So like when you're doing this or this what is it called? An exercise
Yeah.
to like list out all of your inspirations and then write down all of the things that you're taking from the thing.
Yeah.
I just wrote down Bill Ward. There's nothing else to say. Just look at it. Just look at it.
Look
Okay.
at it. Where's
Okay.
we need the soundbite of Amy Jo just yelling to look at it. Would he be like your North Star creative, like the person that you would look at the most?
No, I'm very chaotic. I don't have any one person that I look at the most.
Yeah.
Look at it.
So here I'm gonna show everybody some more of Bill Ward stuff, which means I'm just gonna look at it real quick.
Yeah, you are.
Look
at it.
These are hell yeah. So I wonder what era. Stop it, Siri. My Siri's trying to talk to me.
This is like 50s, probably.
So again, it feels like he's a precursor to Doug Sneed from Playboy, which I also did a Google search, and I'm pretty sure that there's no.
I'm sure they're the same era.
No
I actually
nurples
think
that
Sneed might be
Twitch
earlier.
is going to be mad about. This
No,
feels
this is
more
pre-
60s and 70s. Doug Sneed. And those
Maybe.
the last two that you showed, Bill Ward and the other guy, feel like they're strong precursors to sort of
Maybe.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time gets all timey-wimey in my head, man. I
know.
can't keep it straight.
Yeah. In the simulation, it's hard to know what's up or down, right?
And then we get into Jack Davis. I think
Yeah.
I look at Jack Davis a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of that comes through in my work, but like I don't know how he does anything that he does. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I see it, but I think that's because you and I have probably spent a couple of full hours sending messages back and forth about Jack Davis over the years. I see it now, and it's probably so subconscious for you, but I see it so much in the knees. Whenever you make knobby knees, I see
There's
Jack
knobby
Davis
knees,
yeah.
tiny ankles, big feet, exaggerated knuckles
Yeah.
when you do hands.
Yep.
Just like exaggerating any of the joints. I find that hilarious,
Yep.
and I'll do that any chance I get.
Yep.
Love it.
Yeah, he's awesome. I've got a couple of big art books of Jack Davis. He was EC Comics, Mad Magazine. I mean, he was movie posters. He was one of the premier illustrators in his day, and just the speed of which this man worked too was unreal.
Very Mad Magazine.
Yeah.
And you know Bruce Timm.
Never heard
We
of this
talked about
guy.
Bruce Timm.
Never once. Never once heard of this one.
Love it.
Yeah. I wonder.
I think what I like about him is like the simplicity of stuff.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Like there's a lot of detail there, but he like knows when to keep it really clean and simple too.
Yep. It doesn't overdo it. We talk a lot about when you draw the female figure, depending on what you're going for, the addition of lines, particularly for lady characters, can make them feel older. They just change the complexion of things so quickly. Older is the easiest connotation of that. Bruce Timm knows how to draw beautiful, flowy ladies with minimal amount of lines. And
Yes.
yeah, they're really great.
And so much expression in the face too. Like how does he get that much expression in the face with no lines?
Yeah.
Hi, Grey Bag.
What up, GB? Yeah, I don't get it either. I don't get it either. And then from developing the Batman animated series, and then sort of having his finger and kind of everything over DC animation in the last 30 some years, it's pretty baffling just how much this man has influenced, even if people don't understand or know who he is.
Incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, Silent Spune says that Tim is a huge influence. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then Dr. Seuss. I always have in the back of my head somewhere, how would Dr. Seuss draw this? I don't know why. Like, I don't know if anything that I draw looks like Dr. Seuss, but sometimes it just is in my head.
Same. I think Rob Martz has a lot of Dr. Seuss in him.
Absolutely, you're right. Yeah.
And I think it's, especially in this illustration, and this is something that I've tried to do over the years, and sometimes I do it better than others, is that look how long and sort of like pear-shaped, that's not the right term, but like how big that torso is compared to the tiny, tiny little legs. And then the little tick marks, helping us understand and see where the form comes through. I would say he's probably my most subconscious influence is Dr. Seuss.
I could totally see that.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I don't think about it very often. I don't go in, I don't study it.
Yeah.
But when you're kids, you just sort of consume, right? And like, I don't know, you and I are in that same kind of age range, but like, for me, like Busy Town, I don't know if you remember like Richard Scarry's Busy Town with all the cats and the all the animals just doing stuff like in their city. Like that is part of the reason why.
I don't know if I know that one.
Oh my gosh, I'll show you some images here on the screen here in a little bit. But like that, between that and like Dr. Seuss, like those would be the things that I would go back to. Like that's probably where most of my imagination, along with Shel Silverstein, would have come from. Just like those three things.
Is this fun? You guys were totally geeking out over here. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Jack Azzolo does say, though, and I do think it's a fair comment. Jack Azzolo says, I do question the validity of Dr. Seuss's medical accreditation. Same thing with Dr. Diggity Dank. I do wonder why Dr. Diggity Dank wanted to give me my colonoscopy the other day. Yeah.
No.
I was like, don't you do other things? This seems strange. But I went with it anyway. It was a cheap deal. It was a cheap deal.
That's
Oh, shit.
terrible.
Are you fucking kidding me? He's rating right now, too.
Did you know he was doing that?
I didn't even know he was down this way.
Dr. Diggity Dank, we were just talking about you.
We got a draw today.
What are the chances?
Characters ready.
Dr. Diggity Dank, we were just checking the medical accreditations of internet doctors. Dr. Seuss is one. Dr. Dank is the second one. Welcome in, Raiders. I'm Anthony, and this is Princess PJs. Today we're kicking off a brand new Draw This in Your Style challenge. What's up, nerds? Unbelievable. The timing of that is too funny.
It's magical.
Funny.
Magical.
Yeah. 100%. Jack Azzolo says, who would you trust more to give you a colonoscopy? Tony, Dr. Diggity Dank, or me? What if that's a lot. That's a lot. That's three capable men just doing capable man things, Dank, what were you up to on your stream today, man? I was watching you the other day when you were building product. I got a kick out of everything. It's so great. Your next tattoo says, Dank is a real doctor. I meet him behind my 7-Eleven for my colonoscopy. It's fair. It's very fair. Sending you the promo. Perfect, man. I'll be able to bring it up on screen. Let me know when it's here. So yeah, we're talking to Princess PJs about this awesome illustration that she created for this challenge, but we're also talking about like her inspirations and the kind of people that she likes to look at and stuff like that. Yeah, I appreciate the raid, guys. You're awesome. So in terms of the next thing, I thought it would be really cool to ask you to break down this illustration, like how, like,
break it down,
like maybe put it like a layer over top and reduce the opacity of the one before. And if you were going to do figure drawing, like how would you do that? Like where do you start? And like what parts of the body do you
should do
sort
it at the same time.
I will. I'm gonna try to go find Dank's thing so I can share it with everybody here in a minute. I'm trying to weasel my way out of this.
Things.
Yeah.
You gotta work.
This
You
is
gotta put
work.
him to work.
This is work. While you're getting that up and running here, let me.
How was your stream, Dr. Diggity Dank?
Yeah.
What did you do? Do you have anything you want to share? What amazing creation did you make
Let me show you this.
on your stream today?
This is July 9th, Tuesday, July 9th, 1 week from today. Hosted by Dank, James Dean, Cream of Egbert, and Quinn. This is the James Cameron Quartet. We're going to break it down, open up this bit. Yeah. Hopefully this is coming through. There we go. Fake the Music. We've talked about this before. This is awesome. Is an open invite musical competition game show featuring AI perform music in Twitch's first audio animatronic band. Is Egbert we'll talk about it later. Rules: no AI written lyrics. Enter in on Discord, 1 entry per category, and you've got all sorts of categories, all the way from Walmart to yard care injury, which I could talk about, and hot dogs and boy bands. And let's see if my internet sounds will work. Can I play this?
Maddie, maybe she has an astigmatism.
The kazoo might have AIDS, guys. There you go.
You're so fucking horrible, dude. There we go. Dank, I appreciate you. It's so funny though. We were literally talking about you a quarter second before you rated in.
It's true.
It's pretty amazing. There you go. There you go. Canceling one man from the internet, one day at a time. All right. So how do you break this? How do you break this thing down? Where do you typically start?
So I'm kind of a from the skull to the spine line of action type person. So I know you like to start with a ball as the chest, which just blows me away. I don't understand it at all. So we could teach each other our methods and try and understand maybe. But like for me, it'll start at the skull with like from the top of the head, the crown of the head to the cheekbones being a ball. I'll even put in some contour lines to make it like seem like a ball and let me know which direction I'm facing.
Yeah.
And then from there, you can kind of like add the cheekbones and the chin, right?
Yep.
Kind of like that. I don't know. And then from there, you can connect that down. It's kind of too far back to get the corner of the jaw to the ear, right? It's not, what's that dude with the method that's really popular? It's not that at all.
There's like the Loomis method, the Bridgman method.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one is which anymore.
It's not that.
Valley Dweller cheered some money to let you know that shapes are just a construct. So just keep that in mind. Dumpy wandered her way on into the stream. Hi, Dumpy. So you generally always start with the head. How do you size everything body-wise then? How do you not get one thing too big or you don't? Okay.
It absolutely gets too big, and then I just resize it because it's digital, and I can.
So here's a great question. So if you didn't have the, and I'm reading Jack Azzolo's comment, ADHD is a bitch right now. If you didn't have the availability to like lasso and shrink and make bigger, and you were going to do it on paper, what would you do?
And I wanted to get the proportions right the first time. Okay. So what I would do is I would like lightly in pencil make myself a little meter gauge thing. And if it was a standing pose, maybe the proportions would be different, sitting pose, whatever. I always make my heads really big and kind of use a 1 head to 2 heads head to body ratio as much as I can.
Yep.
With pinups and sexy ladies, maybe the legs get longer, so it changes. Yeah. But I would probably try to line it up really lightly with pencil and do it that way.
Badley's asking you a technical question about painting. How do you? How would he resize in oils? He's asking for a friend.
Yeah. Get some scissors, cut out that piece of canvas, and then shrink it.
Shrink it with
somehow.
your shrink ray, with your yeah. Before we keep going, I'll let everybody know again. Our Draw This in Our Style challenge is featuring Princess PJs. This image is in the Draw This in Your Style channel in Discord right now. So I think you have to look into. Let's switch over to it real quick. It is under the art stream sharing. Here's the image right there that Kelly put in. We already have a quick sketch from Kelly. Again, anything that you want to do that just sort of stands out to you about this piece, you could recreate the full image. You could just take the pose. You could change it around and turn it into a sexy pinup cat. You could maybe take one color that really influences you and make a piece out of it. The whole goal, though, is to use this as a launching board and make something really cool. We will today.
We already have one. Oh my God.
We do, yeah. Kelly already put one in. We'll share any of the quick rough drafts and things like that, and we'll do that over the next couple of weeks. But then we're going to show all the finished final pieces on July 30th at 5 Eastern. So that'll be really cool. So you basically get the entirety of this month to make a piece. So you can get it all done today if you want to, or you can take your time on it. And then we can talk about posting strategies and sharing on the internet and all that kind of stuff. But it is under the category of art stream sharing, just in case you were confused what is what. So you start with the head, and then you draw the body sort of from there. Are you always going to...
So in my time lapse of drawing the original thing, you can see that I totally changed the proportions with, lasso tool, change them right there.
Would you always start, so if you start with the head, would you always start with the connectivity of the neck? Or would you ever go in and be like, I'm going to draw the curve for her butt, and then I'm going to go back up? Does one thing have to connect to the other thing?
I think so. I think that I need the spine.
Yeah.
Like you can see in that time lapse that I just made like a curved line to represent the spine.
Do you call that a line of action? What do you call that? It
kind of is a line of action, yeah. I have a question for you, actually. I just remembered I was going to ask you this because earlier...
This is my show, my channel.
When you were talking about why you like this, you said it has good rhythm or something like that. Yeah. And I have to admit that I have never understood the term rhythm in terms of visual art.
Yeah.
So, can we teach me what that means? Because I've watched the Proco videos where they try to break it down. I just don't understand what they're talking about.
Yeah, and I think definitions of that can be a little bit looser. Proco is probably one of the most well-read illustrator dudes, and I'm much less than that. What I always talk about, it's the flow sort of from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And if I had to sort of equate it to something, I think about, I don't know why I do this, but I think about a Christmas tree. And I think about how things...
What?
Just go with me on this one, Princess PJs. But I think about these curvy rhythms when you're hanging your lights or your tassel or your popcorn strings. That's sort of one thing this way and then this way and then this way and then this way. Like it feels like it has like just a really like this gorgeous rhythm to it. And when I think about stuff like this, it's kind of the same thing. We get this really great flow sort of from here to the bust, to the butt, to the legs, and to the flow back this way.
So is it like the rhythm of your eyes being drawn through the piece?
Well, yeah, but I think Proco would probably, and maybe somebody who's a little bit smarter than me, they would probably talk about how the rhythms of the flow, like the rhythms of this. And like these pushes.
the force method and the rhythms. Like that's the Proco stuff that I was watching, and I was like, you guys keep explaining and I don't understand.
Yeah. I love and so it's one of the other pieces that you posted too that a whole bunch of people oohed and awed over. Can you go back to the lady who's standing real quick? Yeah. So so look at her shoulder and then look at her hip. And then look at the knee that's popped out. And for me, it's that flow this way. It feels like it's a conductor conducting. But again, I think somebody who's more learned would talk more about sort of the curvature of those shapes. I don't know.
I just love that there's so many different ways that you can talk about visual art, and like,
Yeah.
different people think about it in different ways. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess what does everybody at home think, minus Jack Azzolo? How would you, if you had to sort of explain the definition of artistic rhythm in a visual medium like this, in illustration, like what would you do? What would you say? And I'm gonna see. Yeah, the Force books from Valid very much about rhythm. Yep. Yep. This is sounding like a therapy session. Pretty much. Why am I being ostracized? I demand a recount. Well, here, let's go.
Are you?
No one else is doing it, so I'm going to do it real quick while you put that down. Definition of rhythm in illustration. Whoever gets to these definitions faster gets to write it and put it on the internet, and then that's what the law is. Hi, Sniping.
Yeah.
Rhythm in art is the visual or auditory pattern created by repeated shapes, elements, colors, sounds, or movements, which is very different than
Excuse me?
than what the Force books talk about. In graphic design, rhythm refers to the relationship between elements in the piece and how they interact together, like how things would sort of lock in.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean, Okami. And Zach, I'm with you. Like, for me, there's flow,
Yeah.
but rhythm just confounds me. I'm so confused all the time.
Mm-hmm. Oak is asking if they can call you PJs. Yeah, you can call her PJs.
Yes, absolutely.
PPs.
PP.
Yeah, whatever
You
you
can call me
need.
Sarah too, but everybody's name is Sarah, so it doesn't really help.
Now, Jack says that rhythm is more about repeating shapes to him. That's really
I agree,
interesting.
Divinity.
What does Div say?
Sounds so art school pretentious to me.
So this article that's right here, when we think of rhythm, we think of pattern and repetition. They're very similar and interconnected. Pattern is a reoccurring element in a particular arrangement, and the example that they provided was sort of like this flowy bit up here. Maybe a motif that repeats in a wood carving or fiber art that has that repeating element. Repetition refers to an element that repeats. It may be a shape, a color, or a line. And so, yeah, you get sort of the repetitive color. Like I'm looking at just this little color wheel dealy right there. And then rhythm is a little bit both of pattern and repetition, yet rhythm can vary. See, there no one fucking knows. That's the idea.
Like,
Rhythm is what it means
on a
to
graphic
you.
design that's repeating something over and over totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
But in a figure drawing, I don't understand.
Yeah. I'll probably
We don't have to.
No, I think this is really again, these are the kind of conversations we don't typically have. I think it'd be good for all of us to sort of think through what our definitions of those things are. And I think for me, I might need to reword the way that I think about sort of those the way that things kind of move back and forth. Because maybe my definition
I've heard
is so
people
far
say
away.
it a lot. I've heard people say it a lot, and I figured if I don't understand it, there's probably other people out there that don't understand it. So
Yeah.
I thought I'd ask.
Okay.
Art talk with art, dorks. You got it. That's what we're doing.
Hi, Noise. Welcome in. Feel the rhythm. Feel the rhyme. Get markers out, motherfuckers. It's arting time. Sorry. Just had to say.
I feel like PJ might have nailed it with the leading lines ideas. Did I say something about leading lines ideas? Like the line of action stuff?
There's some
Or
leading,
the,
there's some leading lines in this piece for sure.
Proportion stuff?
So,
So
sorry.
I need the spine. Back to what we were talking about. Sorry.
Arson, welcome in. Yeah, so talk about so you're gonna work on the head first. You're gonna get the spine, and then now you're gonna start
need the
making
spine.
some connective
Because
stuff.
to me, the chest comes from where the shoulders connect with the spine,
Yeah.
I think. So with this pose especially, I think her shoulders are kind of rounding forward because she's leaning forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so I needed that. I need the spine and then the cross line to understand that those shoulders are kind of curving in that direction. And this is like that 3D stuff that you always say you have trouble with.
Yep.
I'm trying to get in my head where everything connects so I can understand the 3D shapes of it. So then the neck, which is like a cylinder, and then like a round shape at the opening of it or whatever, Like you can start to kind of see how that's 3D if you,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it's how that cylinder fits in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps a lot. Then from there, to me, a chest is always like, what is this? A trapezoid? Kind of a rounded trapezoid shape. So
Yeah,
you
no
always do
idea.
yours as a ball. And so like your ball would fit in here, I guess. But that's just so bizarre to me. Like if I'm thinking of a chest as a 3D shape, it's a trapezoid.
Who else laughed when Princess PJs was talking about my balls? Weird. Super weird.
Come on.
Sorry.
That's too easy.
Yep.
That's too silly.
I know. Sharn did. I knew Sharn did, and that's what made me ask. Low hanging fruit. That feels like a dig. That feels like an old man dig right there.
There we go.
So we get the curvature for the shoulders. Next, you're going to start working on the chest.
Yeah.
Can you
So
put,
for
can
me,
you put
the
that shape on
shoulder-
her?
Yes, exactly. So that shoulder, I'm going to ignore the boobs for a minute and
That's
just
sad.
no, they'll have their time. Kind of try and figure out where in the world is that trapezoid behind those boobs, because the boobs are just distracting.
When
at
she
this
said
point.
where in the world, how many of you said Carmen San Diego? No? Never mind.
I don't think that the people in this chat are old enough for that.
Dari did.
No.
Zach did. God, Lissa effing
Okay, a
Bailey's
couple
giving me
people
no
are.
credit today. She's a tough one.
We use shapes, just don't ask us what their names are. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what that shape would be. So what you're doing right now is you're giving the three-dimensional form to basically where the rib cage and everything is sitting in. The bottom
Yes.
of that weird shape that no one knows what it is that the bottom of the rib cage, or could it be more inclusive of other stuff if you needed it to be?
I don't know. Like to me, it's just the chest is always going to need to be this trapezoid shape, whatever it is.
Yeah.
There's kind of like a no man's land where the belly is.
Yeah.
You don't draw that. You just leave it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the hips are below that.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of how
That's
I
just
think
an
of it.
exclamation point. You just drew an exclamation point, like a really stylized one, like the Image Comics logo from the 90s. And then somehow you turn it into this gorgeous this. I don't.
Yes.
I don't.
In my head, all people are exclamation points. Their belly, their stomach is the gap between the upper exclamation thingy
Yeah.
and the dot.
Yeah.
The hips are the dot, so they could have really small hips, they can have really big hips, they can have really big. Yeah, that's totally it. So yeah, you got the hips here.
Okay.
So that's why I need the spine, is to figure out where that trapezoid and that ball of the exclamation point sit.
Yeah. The language. Imagine somebody from another country whose English is not their first language is just trying to figure out what we're talking about right now.
It would make no sense.
It would make no
probably
sense.
doesn't make sense in English either.
No, I think you're doing pretty good. I think you're doing pretty good. Okay, so now we have this this perfect spherical shape for her hips and her booty and pelvis and all that stuff. So what's next? Do you do legs next, or do you do arms next, or is it case by case?
In order to do legs, it's case by case. But in order to do legs, I need to understand the 3D shape of that hip ball.
Yeah, that's okay.
So like, if you look at this one up here, so this is an exclamation point standing straight up.
Okay.
So a person standing straight up from the top of their hips is going to have kind of a flat shape, right? If you took that ball and sliced it in half.
Okay.
That's where like her bikini line is. So I
Yeah.
need to find that here. So it's sort of like that. And figure out again, like I did with the neck cylinder, onto the flat shape of the trapezoid of the ribs. I'm doing that same thing with the cylinder that is the spine.
Yeah. Wow.
And finding where that intersects with this part. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely, it does. Yeah, and again, it's so cool, and we talk constantly on all of our live streams that we can all basically get to the end result, and that's why if there's ever an art teacher who says you have to follow this process, this method, just be wary of that art teacher, right? Because there's just so many different ways that people can do
if
stuff.
It works for them,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
Yeah. Jack Azolo's asking a question, but then, say for instance, you have a male character, to differentiate a larger belly from a smaller belly. Like, how would you? Do you have a sort of a shorthand for somebody who's got like a round belly that would maybe hang over the swimsuit area or that swimsuit
Sure.
line?
Sure. Like for a male who's like a Superman shape, he definitely fits into that exclamation point, right? This is
Yeah.
his briefs.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
It's like in the action figures.
but
Those are where
then
the action figures, like where the parts just connect in. I can show
Sure.
you on my recent Luke Skywalker acquisition. I'll be right back.
and the same answer applies for how you add the boobs too. So like how do you
We'll talk about
add
it, yeah.
to this dude a belly hanging over his pants? It's the same as how you're going to add the boobs later.
Yeah. So if I turn my camera off, so what you're basically doing is that circle part. Sorry, Luke. Actually, not sorry. But in the circle part, that's your pelvis part, and then this is basically how those legs connect in, and there's a pin that goes between. That's pinning these two hips together, and that's basically what you're doing right there with that circle method.
I'm waiting for your stream to catch up so I could see what you're talking about.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, you'll get it here in a couple of minutes.
It's all right. I'll just read chat while I'm waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at now I see your little action figure. All right, you're taking him
I
apart.
wouldn't say
Cool,
it's that
cool.
little. It's a
Yeah,
good,
yeah, exactly.
it's a good size. It's a good size. If you want to see the the tauntaun that came with it, it's an even better size. But
Can you put the guy in the tauntaun?
fuck yeah, you can. It's the only reason I bought this thing.
By the way, I kind
And
of
the
liked
guy?
the last Skywalker movie.
Yeah, well, me, and Rob Mamartz can get on the phone and we can talk about why it's
Can
not a
we?
good movie. Yeah.
Can we?
Yeah.
Love that.
This is a
So,
great
like-
compliment for you. You deserve this. Leath says that they're learning more from Princess than they have ever learned from Proco. Hear that, Proco?
Aw.
Shots fired.
Hear that,
Pew, pew,
Proco?
pew.
Bam, bam. So okay, does the exclamation point thing make sense? Because I'm going to build
Yeah.
off of that.
Yeah.
So
it said-
for Jack Azzolo,
Sorry. I just want to make sure that you knew
Um,
that he was in there, guys. Sorry.
so okay, so the exclamation point is the bones, and everybody who has more flesh they still have the same bone structure inside,
Yeah.
basically. So you kind of have to imagine how, if you're going to give this guy a big belly, how this is going to hang off of the rib cage and the bones underneath that and drape over it, right?
You say the word bones like every Wisconsinner I've ever met says the word bones. It's the best. Sorry for interrupting.
No problem. You betcha.
Yeah, there
Don't
it
you
is.
know?
Yep. Hey, Kevin.
I'm getting better at it the more I stay here.
There's some good tauntaun
I
jokes
spent-
in chat right now. I just wanted to, I can't read them all, but I've read them all. They're really good tauntaun jokes.
My entire adult life has gone kind of like the first, like my 20s was in Seattle and my 30s was in San Francisco, and now I'm in Wisconsin. So
Yeah.
I'm learning the accent apparently. Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah.
Anyway, does that make sense? So that's how I
No,
would,
I think you're doing.
I would
I've said for a very long
do
time.
that.
You're really great at explaining things, and it's not that you ever have to dumb things down to explain things. I just think you're a really capable explainer. So.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna type an answer to Laura, but my computer doesn't want to do that. So I'm not from Wisconsin, but I'm in Wisconsin right now.
Yeah, she's picking up the vernacular from her brethren.
picking it up.
Yeah.
Picking it up.
So
Okay.
next we have legs or potentially arms.
Yes.
And you can go
Yes.
back and forth depending on the illustration, like which one would go next.
Sure. Yeah, I think the important part, like, okay, so I was setting up the shape of the hip area because I need to know where these, the swimsuit bottoms
Mm-hmm.
sit, because that's where the legs are going to come out, right?
Yep.
So in this case, she's kind of, first of all, this thing is facing this way. So the center of it is there.
Yep.
And then her swimsuit bottom arcs are there. So then you can kind of imagine, and I might sometimes even do like the hip bones connected to the knee bone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Connect the dots things.
Mm-hmm.
How to draw the Marvel Princess PJs.
Yeah, I just pinned it. I was trying to pin it because it's a really good comment from Kevin.
That's great. I love it. I'll take it. Because once you get the hip bone connected to the knee bone thing, then you can just sort of fill in the fleshy bits pretty easily, because
She can say
thighs are
shit like
basically
that,
just...
and I can't talk about the size of my tauntaun. Come on, this is ridiculous.
Wow.
Ridiculous.
So a lot of the female form is a series of teardrop shapes to me. So the thighs are these teardrop shapes, basically, upside down. The fleshy bit is up top.
Can we Jack
So, yeah.
Azolo, can we get a master cut every time she says fleshy bit, and then
The fleshy bits and the overlappy
post
parts.
that to Instagram, please?
Zach says I'm lovable, though.
You are.
That's the difference.
You are.
Thank you. And then same thing with the calves. So you do another knee bone is connected to the ankle bone, and then you can make this teardrop shape where the calf is. The calf shin is going to be more, the teardrop is in the back.
Yeah, it's
so
flat on the front for the
flat
most part.
on one
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
For the most part. Same thing with the feet, really. You're going to do another teardrop shape, and then you've got the heel sticking out, and the ball of the foot, and then the little toesy woesies.
Yep. Yep. It's incredible.
With slow-mo moments of PJ saying fleshy bit like she's falling into a black hole. What?
Yeah,
I
we can
don't
get that. We can get that
understand.
edited. We can get that.
All right.
Yeah.
Now we can't ignore the boobs anymore. I don't think. Right?
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So
just for reference, guys, just for reference, we're gonna get those just put up on screen, just a little bit bigger, just so you have a sense of ultimately what she's trying to drive towards.
So I think what's important about the boobs is that they are connected pretty much to the collarbones, and they're going to come off of that. Depending on the shape and size of them, they might hang down more or less, or be more buoyant or less buoyant, or be more full or less full, or there's a lot of different ways that it might hang from that. But I think that really helps. So that's why this line here at the top of the torso is really important, because that is establishing where this flow, if we're going to talk about flow, comes from.
It's basically, I think what I'm getting a sense of is you're basically giving us sort of a concave line, basically from where this armpit is, as it sort of flows out that way.
Exactly. She's rounding her chest. And I think that for drawing people, the placement of the chest is really important to their expression of their personality and their how they feel, their emotions. So like when we were doing Roz's Draw This in Your Style, I wanted to know, like, what is she thinking? What is she feeling? How does she present herself to the world? Because that's going to matter.
Yep.
With how I draw. Like, is she chest out type of person? Is she kind of slinking back? Is she a little shy? Is she projecting? Is she excited to be here? I want to know.
Let's for everybody who is it's a really small image, unfortunately, but this is the Rosmere. Yeah, it's too small. The Rosmere Draw This in Your Style that Princess is referencing, that we did a couple months ago. Yep.
Yeah. So for me, I think the chest trapezoid has to be in place, because you might have a kind of a curve on it, and that's going to affect how the boobs are going to curve outward more or inward more, if it's more concave, like you were saying. So yeah.
There's a lot of good comments in chat here right now. I'm just gonna fly through these comments because I think they need to be read. Kevin said hashtag sweater melons with a Z. Maybe I didn't have to start with that one. Kevin also said fun bags with a Z. Hashtag fun bags with a Z. That's a
Wow.
Fat Bob came in and I missed where did the comment go? But Fat Bob walked in right as we started talking about you drawing this, and he said, "What
I'm
have
sure that he saw the thumbnail.
Yeah, he said, "What have I
and was
come
like,
into?"
yeah.
And I said, "That's a
Yeah.
tough sentence for this moment." Let's see here. Zach wondered if you said the word buoyant, and the answer is yes.
Buoyant. Yes.
Jack
I
Azolo
like that
singing song
word.
about breasts. That's great. Kevin, hashtag lifesavers. I'm surprised that you didn't put a Z on the end of that, Kevin. Everything else had a Z. Badly
Why
says,
doesn't
I
he
always
have
look at the boobs
lifesavers?
first to see what their emotions are. Me too.
dear.
Me too. That's where we can tell if people are in a good mood or bad mood, right, Badly? Yeah, there's a lot of good comments here. Hi, Angle, welcome. What's going on? Yep, fleshy bits and boobs. That's right, Angle. That's just what we do here on this live stream. That's what we do here on this live stream. So now you've got a pretty solid layout on this. How long do you think that this pose or this piece took you?
That's a good question. I would be able to tell you, except we've just spent an hour on it, so
Oh yeah, no, but is this like a 5-minute pose for you? Is this a 30-minute pose? Is this like a 2-minute gesture and then you're just like got
this one came together really fast. If you watch the time lapse, the pose itself is in like the whoops, I'm not exporting it. I just want to watch it. Is in the like first little bit. I was like blam blam blam. I don't know why, but it kind of came together pretty well, pretty quickly. At least the bones of it. But there's like a little bit of sculpting that happens, but then, this is the first 15 seconds of the time lapse. The rest of it is just figuring out like what the hell is her hairstyle going to be and like what color am I going to make everything.
Yeah.
So the pose didn't take very long at all on this one. I don't know why.
It's pretty wild, and this is where I think up and coming illustrators don't push through. It's just like the amount of sculpting that you're doing here. It's pretty wild. So like the very first facial shapes, there's that one cheek was just way out here, almost like she had like chipmunk cheeks. And then how quick, yeah, you can see as you're rewinding it, like how you're getting the basic form of it down, but then you're re-sculpting it to try to meet the needs of what the pose is. And like her jaw's down way low, but then you recognize that and you re-taper that jaw up a little bit higher as it hinges where the mouth opens. And this is, again, I think it's tricky. I think as people are on the way up and they're trying to figure stuff out, they give up at a certain point because they don't see, sort of the forest through the trees with the stuff. And that's hard because you don't know what you don't know. But it is really cool to be able to see just how much you whittle away at stuff.
And this is a weird angle. Like I don't draw
this is a tough
people
angle
with their face at this angle very often. So there was a lot of like experimenting that had to go through it.
Yeah. Yeah, because she's basically, I thought a lot about this one because she's basically at a 3/4 angle. So her head, so this is a straight profile, this is a 3/4, and then this is a side profile. She's basically like at a 3/4 angle, but her head is up and tilted at the same time. And so you have to sell it with that front part of the neck where the neck comes down and then curves in. Otherwise, it's going to feel like her body's completely disjointed because again, I can use force and rhythm sort of in the wrong way here, but the head is really pushing out this way, but then the force of the back is going, in a different direction. So there's all of these kind of competing energies, which again, I think is what kind of makes a rhythm look really cool. Obit, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Washing Machine followed the channel earlier. There was one more that I missed. I apologize, but thank you guys for the follows today.
Good night, Jack Azolo.
Night. See you, buddy. Love you, dude. This is a good reminder for anybody who follows me here on Twitch. You can also follow Princess PJs. I don't know if our exclamation point, we had channel point commands, but I don't know if it's there. When we were having issues with Stream Elements, we had to take a whole bunch out to try to see if we could fix it. There it is. Perfect. It's exclamation point PJs to get a link back to her Twitch page. Also her link tree setup. So you can see all of the Princess PJs links, including demos and then PDFs and things that you can buy. Pretty great. Okay, so now I'm just watching your time lapse here. How do you decide which pieces you want to finish with kind of like a heavy black line, or maybe something that you want to go maybe a little bit lighter, a little bit more of like a lineless kind of style?
This is my existential struggle forever.
Oh, good. Thank God. Let me take a bite of my granola.
I don't know.
I wasn't able to eat the entire day because my mouth was numb, so I apologize for nibbling. My bad.
I don't know. I don't have a way of deciding. I'm an experimenter, you guys. Anthony was like, I want to talk about your approach and how you decide to do stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. I just go by the seat of my pants, and it's a problem.
But why can't
I remember a long time ago when you were talking about how you don't have a go-to for how you draw female characters. And I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
What does it mean to have a go-to? Because I don't either. Everything I do is just really experimental, and I experiment with things. But I guess the more you do it, the more you're like, okay, that worked for me before, so I'm gonna keep doing it next time.
I have talked about that part of my existential crisis too. As somebody who fully feeds his entire family on art. A lot of times, what I'm doing is I'm trying to think about the things that I can monetize, but I can do repeatable. So, for instance, if I'm going to make a print of kind of Batman and Robin, and I'm going to use big blocky shapes and styles, I want to make sure that all the prints in that line follow that same rhythm. God damn it! But those same shape patterns. And I've said for a very long time, I can go back and draw the classic, like the Conan, the Frankenstein, the monsters, the dudes, the kid characters, but I've never been able to have a version of a female character that is sort of the classic, like the Brett Parsons, the Bruce Timm. And again, I think about how I would then turn that into a product set, and that's always where my crisis comes into. My dad, before he died, he said, he goes, son, I just don't want your art to become too much of a job for you. And I was like, don't worry about that. I don't think that's ever going to be too much of an issue. But I will say over the last bunch of years, while there's a lot more financial pressure on my shoulder than there used to be, I do think a lot about that stuff. And so I probably think about it less from a creative spot and more so from a repeatable, maximizing the kind of stuff that I can make for my audience who wants to buy that stuff. A better example now is my Harry Potter characters are all of the same ilk, male, female. I have a very well-defined style. If you see one of them on the internet and my name's not attached to it, you might be able to guess that it's mine or get close, between the people that it could potentially be. But yeah, for a long time, I've just never had a pinup style character like a Bruce Timm, Brett Parsons, or you that I can get after. And that's always bugged me. It's tough.
So when you draw one of your cartoony dudes with the big chin.
Yep.
You're doing that for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I like it. There's welcome to good podcasting 101.
What does the big chin communicate about that character?
Yeah, so when I quit the day job and I was looking back at all the art stuff that I was doing prior to it, just everything felt really shallow and flat. Didn't feel like there was enough sort of dimensionality to things. There wasn't interest. And I just kept going back to the people that I was just so fucking enamored with, like the Robin Marts, the Dave Gertons, these guys who just squished and pulled, and it was like the taffy version of illustration. And so this is where that lesson came in when, which is what we're going to do on the live stream tomorrow, which was drawing kind of more classic skeletons and trying to understand sort of the frame of the skeleture as it sits under our skin, regardless of shape, weight, ethnicity, and stuff like that. Our bones are all kind of about the same, but obviously there's going to be tweaks and differences sort of throughout. And when I went back and I evaluated the stuff that I was doing prior, it all just kind of felt, to me, just kind of boring. It didn't feel like I was living in the, and even this is kind of exaggerated. Hey, Pat Draws, that I wasn't living into that idea of the taffy pull, and that's really where I really wanted to find some things to accentuate. And when I was going back, Al Williamson, who was one of the most incredible illustrators, inkers of all time. He illustrated Flash Gordon for like 20 years, the newspaper comic strips. He drew Star Wars comics. I looked at some of the features that he really identified. It was cheekbones. There was like these really incredible cheekbones on a lot of his male characters. And I was like, okay, so let's make that kind of a hallmark of my dude characters. But then the chins always felt kind of pathetic next to it. And so I then started to pull that chin out just a little bit, just to give it a little bit, you would call it style, or just something more interesting to look at. And then a lot of times too, then I would start to stretch out the skull a little bit. And again, it's that taffy pull up and down. And then over the years, it just started to really just get stretched. But kind of like what you were saying earlier, how you get into that crisis mode of should you do this or should you do this? There was a period that I went through where all of my hands that I were drawing had tiny, tiny, tiny little fingers. And didn't matter the character, even the big chested, male characters, Cable, all the X-Men characters. I would draw all of these hands really tiny. And my most famous piece is that Hagrid piece, and his fingers are absolutely tiny. And it's still that goal of just trying to find, what are the differences between, the taffy pull, the squish and elongate, to then have a good style that goes along with it, something that's really identifiable. It's tricky.
It's a lifelong, ongoing process, I think.
Yeah. Whereas
I think
Go ahead.
One thing that you said, find some things to accentuate, I think that's like really the key. And like how you accentuate it. So like how you figure out how that taffy pull or whatever is going to work. So like for me, a lot of it is there's going to be a bounce. So there's going to be a bounce in the cheekbone. There's going to be a bounce in the boobs.
Yep.
There's going to be a bounce
in
the
God.
butt. There's going to be a bounce in the heel. There's going to be a bounce with little toesies sticking out if I can.
Not my thing.
I'm going to find a lot of little things to make that bounce. So like that's the way that I do it. I have found that's the only like go-to that I have is whatever pose, whatever character I'm drawing, I'm looking for that thing that I can accentuate in that way. Like where can I add more bounce?
Yep.
And maybe for you it's more pull or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. And I think sometimes you and I do this quite a bit to each other, is where we try to define things that don't necessarily have to be defined.
So what do you mean by that?
But I love that.
Badger says bounce is your rhythm.
Yeah, I love the challenge of that though, because it is really important to try to articulate, through some of that stuff. Kelly said that there's 5 in Discord, so we'll go take a peek at the rough drafts that people are throwing in. But yeah, I knew for a long time, for me, I was never going to be the illustrator that I grew up wanting to be. I was never going to be Jim Lee for X-Men comics. I just couldn't do it.
Thank God.
Yeah, I mean, to me, he, especially in that era, was incredible. But I just couldn't figure out how to do stuff like that. And then I could never do photorealism, which was another thing. A lot of artists really want to do a realistic or photorealism piece, and it's so hard unless you really know what you're doing. And it honestly wasn't until I came back to that in 2017, that Inktober, where I really decided to try to just really play with shape, is when things figured out. But it's funny, within that 7 years since then, that everything there's these little phases that you go through, and we were talking about Jack Davis earlier. It's like what phase did Jack Davis go through that we either see but we didn't recognize that it was a phase that he was going through, or like when was the Jack Davis that when we look at these in the books, like when was he locked in and was the guy that we all recognize? What year was that? How many years into his artistic journey was that? And I don't know. It's
hard to know. Looking back, you just see the whole breadth of his work, right?
Yeah.
And you don't know which era is which. It all, to us, all blends together. But for him, he might have been going through a whole journey with his art, right?
Yeah, Fred Zilla said that the big chins are my man crush on Jay Leno. pretty close. Maybe who's the Bruce Campbell? Bruce Campbell would be the other nod. But it's funny because I never thought about that stuff when I was drawing it. I always just, I don't know. We'll have to go back and look at some of my old stuff to compare because it's pretty brutal. Let's go take a peek at the first 5 that have been submitted, and then I am then going to draw. I'm going to do some figure drawing based on the pose that that of this thing. Jesus Christ, Anthony. Here's the art. Fucking hell. Here's Kelly Maldonado's doodle. Those I didn't catch it at first, Kelly, because I was going very quickly. But there seems to be some adaptations to the chestal region. Hi, Patty. Those are.
Sorry, I'm on a delay, so delayed reaction, but good Lord, that's amazing.
Yeah, next time we do this, I'll share my screen, and we'll just keep track of the frames. I've not dropped a frame since we started, so real good. Fun. Yeah, Kelly really, really, really did a great job on this pose, and I like how this leg is not under, it's pushed away a little bit, so the knee is further in on the board. That's really cool. So that's Kelly Maldonado. On rhythm, which leans more towards leading lines, faux force, says the Valley Dweller. PJ's mentioned putting bounce in figures. If the energy that leads off of a bounce is what pushes the other bounce, it's good. Oh, it's so complicated, right?
Dude, that's going to make my head explode.
Yeah, like I get what he's saying, but that's the thing that I really struggled with that force book from that he's referencing, is I need somebody to explain it to me. Hi, Sparrow.
Yeah. Explain it to me like I'm 5, please.
Yeah. Look how gloopy. I like how much ink is just on the page. Super good. Oh my God. You can't see what's on the screen yet.
I'm sure you'll know when I do. Boy. Oh God, it's a pickle.
Oh
my God, it's a pickle board.
God.
Dude, that bikini is very nice though.
I've never looked better. He's not put any of the extra body hair on me, which is great.
No,
real quick before I forget, Arson Dust. I would love to see how you pixel art one of Princess PJ's poses. That would look so freaking cool. Hi, Pickles. This one's the winner, says Lissa effing Bailey.
This is amazing.
I just have to acknowledge, I love...
the pose is so good, though.
Yeah. He's looked at so many photos of me, and there is that point in time where my hair does do a little bit of a flip like that.
Look at the eyelashes.
Yeah.
No, that's when I tell you your hair looks really cute.
Shut up. You're ridiculous. How did you draw those hands? Gosh darn you, Joshua Dominic.
This is amazing.
We are going to be, again, sharing all the finished versions of these in a month on July 30th. Oh, look at Dari's. Oh, this is why. Oh,
Green bag, you nailed it.
You did. I hope you didn't. You're not going to try to nail the image that. No, never mind.
Oh,
how cute. So cute. Yeah, ultra cute. Super good.
Now this is accentuating the eyes.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Adorbs.
Yep. Very much so. Very much. Yeah. This has turned out really nice. Again, this is my favorite part about a draw this too, is you capture some portion of it and then just take it and put it in your own style. Here's Nene. Bah! I decided to push myself with perspective on this one. I regret nothing, and I don't regret showing that, Nene. Nene did a piece last time that was drawn from like behind at an angle,
Oh, wow.
and I couldn't figure out how to draw that.
Oh, my.
Oh my.
Oh, wow.
Oh my.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
I see what you've done there.
I'm hopeful to leave this up on screen for a little bit. Maybe we can just get some of the big titty anime watchers on Twitch into my channel for a couple of minutes. You know what I mean? You know, I apologize for my
Very
language, but yeah, there it is. Isn't that awesome? I
Very
would have
nice.
never, ever thought to do that pose. I wouldn't even know where to start.
The imagination, man. The creativity. Damn.
Nene has a good imagination. Here's the from Leath. This is their study pose, and I love all the handwritten notes on here too. POV, you're the board. Well, just imagine that green bag is the board and the one that he drew of me, and then things change a little bit. Yeah.
What do the notes say? This is cool.
I really, really, really love how stretched out you've made this. She's sitting up much higher, much more proud on the board. Arm too long. Yeah. Hand not on the board. This is, I don't know if we remember this conversation we had here on stream. There's a certain point in your illustration journey that you have to start to be able to reference back your work and be kind of, critical is not the word that I'm thinking of, but you have to be able to critique it in a thoughtful way. You have to be able to remove the emotion, remove the excitement of it, and just be able to really analyze your work. So I really love notes like this. Even if I might disagree with some of them, it's just really nice for the artist to be able to look back at their work very quickly and say, I could do this a little bit different, or I might want to add something in here. I think it's a huge part of that journey. And
Absolutely.
I like how tall this is, but then I like how squatty this one is. It's awesome. Pablo Agursi on TikTok yesterday was talking about how, generally our first sketch doesn't take very long. It's got a lot of the right components to it, but I'm summarizing, but it can be kind of stiff. Going through an exercise like this and then spending that 20, 30 minutes just really, dialing it down, doing poses over and over and over again, just shifting, maybe trying to put a little tweak on things, on every little tiny version or thumbnail that you do. Eventually, it's just so apparent what the pose needs to be. But I think a lot of us stop after like pose number 1 or pose number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's just this unrealistic expectation that the first thing that you put down on paper is going to be the thing. And if it's not, it means you suck.
That's right.
And that's just not realistic.
I'll have to show my
Takes a lot
sketchbook page
of
from yesterday.
Redraw.
Yep.
Iteration.
Yep. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Playing with a split screen by the water to show. Whoa. I can't tweak that. Is this I'm just making sure they're. I wonder how can I turn. I can't lock my iPad and turn it, can I? You know what I can do? I want people to be able to see. Give me 1 second, Alyssa effing Bailey. I do really like that Alyssa changed her name on here because of that too.
It's so
Because I'm
good.
calling her that. Here we go. There. Rotate. Boom. With the ripples going through too. Look at all of these poses. I like too that she's taking very much like a moving the camera angle down on a bunch of these.
Ooh, I don't know how you guys do that. Like move the camera around in your head.
Well, sometimes,
That's tough.
and again, I got really frustrated, not in a bad way, but with like Nene last month because Nene just saw a pose that I just honestly have never seen in my life. Like I was just like, I don't understand.
I love the one where she's like looking back further over her shoulder up at the camera.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Like this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that knee is popped up. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll pull the camera down first and go at it eye level, and then I'll try to pull things up a little bit higher, like an old school Zelda, like that 3/4, looking down kind of at an angle. Like if the clock was at like 10 o'clock, and the hands were pointing to the middle. But I typically have to start with
the
flat
growth
pose.
area for me, you guys. This is where I need to start learning how to do that.
I think you're pretty good. These are really cute, Lissa. She also has the
I'm
Princess
trying
PJ
too
style foot
hard.
down. You'll see it here in a couple of seconds.
You gotta accentuate that art.
Yep. Mudwork says this is where we could also plug Jack's sketchbook challenge. That's awesome, and I'm actually going to be talking about it tomorrow on my Instagram, TikTok, and stuff like that. Our buddy Jack has an 8-week challenge starting July 1st, ending August 30th. So it's roughly an 8-9 week challenge to fill an entire sketchbook with all sorts of different stuff, and then Jack is going to be filling his own sketchbook and then talking about the process all along the way. And it's just a way for people to get really knee deep in their sketchbooks. So it's pretty awesome. Yeah, exclamation point, Jack.
Nice.
Thank you, Mud. Yeah, Alyssa, these are great. These are really great. Yeah,
That's really cool.
She draws flow really well. Here's
Is that
Arson.
the same as rhythm?
Let's go. I don't know. We'll figure that part out. How about you and I just define what it is and we just confuse everybody in the art world? No matter what Proco says, no matter what Jazza says, it's just whatever you and I say it is. Here's Arson. I didn't know Arson was doing this. I just knew Arson was here, and I was like, Arson, can you please do this?
Amazing.
I love pixel art. We only have 1 or 2 people. Arson's the main one who does pixel art around here. Yeah, this is going to turn out to be so cool. I'm just so intrigued with how the whole thing will come together.
How are you gonna do the fingers?
Yeah, no clue. No clue. If only there was a song about sausage fingers. Here's Thunder Bristles. You'll see it. You'll see it in a second. Oh my God. So freaking.
What happened here?
Arson, this is the best laugh I've had all day. And again,
That's
I couldn't even like talk for 4 hours today because my mouth was so ballooned up.
Oh my gosh.
Conceit, I didn't
That
say
was
hi earlier.
unexpected.
Hi. Yeah, this is so unexpected. It's so perfect. This is a draw this in your style if I've ever seen one. I hope you give a dump truck ass to that horse, please. Here's Kathy. Hi, Kathy. We've
Yeah,
not
we
seen
need more
Kathy.
arch to the horse's back a little bit.
Yeah.
A little arch there.
Whoa, Kathy with a magnificent return to art challenges here on my channel. That whale, Kathy.
Ooh.
Kathy has done some of the silliest stuff. Her work always makes me giggle. And then a couple of months ago,
That is amazing.
it was fun because a couple of months ago there came out this really thoughtful illustration that she did, and I was just smitten by it. And again, I think it's just so cool when people can go back and forth between different emotions or different feelings and have different kind of vibes or styles to their artwork. That is a really cute whale. My gosh. Arson said, "Fuck the fingers" for his post. Fair. I love too. How you push the character forward. You get that really great push in the back. And then just like what you were saying earlier with those great curvatures around the shoulder, the butt, same thing around the head, the bust, just really great curves, really accentuating everything. That's awesome,
you took the
Kathy.
pose and you were like, I need it to be like this. And
Yeah.
you just changed it for your need.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
That's what, the first challenge I did, I tried to be as close to Silent Spunes as I could because I needed to figure out how he did it. And then on Rosmir's, I tried desperately to do the same thing, but I couldn't get it. I couldn't figure it out. And it wasn't until I tweaked a couple things in the pose is when my brain clicked in, was like, oh crap, that's how to do it. And it took me also having a viewpoint, which was adding the fantasy antlers to it, which was so different than the piece that he originally submitted. Sorry, this is Dinky's here. But then it just clicked. And that kind of feels like what Kathy did.
Yeah, make it your own.
Yeah. Hey Dinky, is the rumor that you are taking commissions these days? Is that the rumor that I hear? I love
the feet, the ankles.
Yeah. Really good curl of that toe. And that the head is going backwards. Same thing like with Alyssa Bailey, is that head is turned back, looking backwards. There's this, I think a lot of you have probably seen it. There is this most gorgeous pose of all time. I was talking about Jim Lee earlier. If Alec Obert was here, he would immediately know, but I bet there's a bunch of other dudes who know which one I'm talking about. But there's this incredible Jim Lee pose. Can't remember
Me too, MW Mudworks. I like the lower angle, like we're in the water.
It's up on the screen right now, but this is one of my favorite illustrations of all time. Her body is moving forward. Her head is looking
Ooh.
back. The shoulders are up. And again, you hit those incredible curves that you were talking about earlier. Curve around the shoulder, curve around the butt. Obviously, the bosom is really accentuated. That image might have started puberty for me when I was a kid. Sorry.
It's kind of amazing that you saw that sketch and then you immediately connected it to this, and they're very, very, very similar. That's very cool.
Yeah, my brain is
How does your brain work?
It's a bottomless pit of just useless stuff that's never going to help me in life. Okay, at all.
It helped you just now.
This is awesome. I will say, anybody who's playing this challenge, again, the whole goal, the whole reason I wanted to do this, was to learn how to draw really cool stuff from people I really like and really appreciate, but is also to help try to expand people's reach all over the internet and social media. So again, if you're having a fun time playing, tagging Princess PJs, you don't have to tag me, it's all good, but hashtagging Princess PJs wherever you put this stuff so she can see it and maybe repost it. Do you want to do like a specific hashtag? Do you want to do like PJs draw this in your style?
We can. It's just really hard on Instagram because they don't show you everything that's hashtagged a hashtag anymore.
We were talking about that.
Useless, but
we were talking about that earlier. Let me go to it real quick, guys.
But do make sure that you @tag me so that I get the notification that it's there, and maybe I'll see it.
Maybe we could workshop real quick some suggestions. Now, Instagram is, I think, where a lot of us post because, but I think a lot of people are moving to Kara. There's a lot of people who are doing TikToks and stuff. Draw this in or these hashtags. You used to be able to sort by recent and then sort of like
see them all.
That obviously doesn't happen anymore. If you do a very unique hashtag like PJs, draw this in your style, there's better odds that she would be able to see them all. So I don't know what you guys think. If there's any good suggestions.
Still some.
Yeah, I mean these are
the
probably
first. The first draw this in your style I ever did. It was a woman who was nude but had donuts. She was holding donuts over her private parts, and I think that hashtag got shadow banned. I don't know why. There's a lot worse things on Instagram, but
yeah,
none of the pieces showed up under the hashtag.
Yeah.
0.
Yeah.
The hashtag just didn't exist.
How about let's try it? So any of you, and I know not all of you are on Instagram anymore and stuff like that. How about we try PJs, so PJS draw DT. You guys get it. It's right there. We'll just add a PJs to that. And let's see if we can get some of those to pop up so we can so she can organize and stuff. But if you want, post your process over the course of the month. Yeah.
The D doesn't have to stand for draw, sniping. It can be just do this in your style, whatever that means.
I think the D does need to stand for that. Yeah, you're right, because people are going to want to do other stuff, right? Yeah.
Sure.
There needs to be a little bit more ambiguity. You know what I mean? Let's
donut in your style.
I want to try to draw it like you draw it. Or I want to do my version. Let's go grab a pencil. And let's talk
Do you
through.
want the breakdown still? Does that help?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. We'll finalize everything tomorrow, guys. Kelly and I will talk in the morning, and we'll finalize sort of like what we think a best practice can be. I know Kelly's, looking at all the comments right now, and any awesome suggestions, she'll run it by, and we'll figure it all out. I just want PJs to get a shitload of visibility from this. I also want a ton of people to see your guys' artwork. So our team at the Chaotic Draw Along is going to be reposting as much as humanly possible. And I want to continue to do this. Next month, again, I'm going to be begging Weekend Monsters or Weekend Ghosts to do cute but creepy. So you guys get it. All right. This is how I would start. Or this is how I am going to start. So I typically...
Are you gonna make a ball with the chest?
I am. I am. But we'll talk about kind of how I...
Talk me through how that works. I'm so curious.
Yeah, so...
I've seen you do it a ton of times and I still don't get it.
This is a hard pose for me, so I'm going to probably bork this one up a little bit. But I think I would be...
PJs Drew wants us to hashtag it so they can see if the hashtag is Shadowbat.
Was it the other one?
That's a good one.
Yeah, dick it in
That's
your
a good
style.
one.
Mud, I was going to say it, and I was like, well, I'm the host of this program. I can't say dick it in your style. And then I read your comment, and then I said it now a second time, and I'll probably say it a third. But yeah, so no, I would start with the ball. I would be better off if I could figure out line of action and in the spine and all that.
How about the exclamation point method?
I'm gonna try mine first, and then I'm gonna try yours. Yours seems not scary, but yours seems so different to me.
Different.
Yeah. So I'm looking at sort of collarbone to belly button. So this is just the upper portion of where collarbone's got to live in here. Shoulders can be an extension off of this, and then the belly and all that stuff is going to sort of be an underlapping shape. So I'm then going to pay attention to where I think the collarbone is going to sit. So this is going to be the bottom of her boobs. Next thing is I'm probably going to try to put some kind of... Now, she's really pushed out right now, so because of that, I'm going to try to give myself a little bit of a swoop, just so I don't get lost too much, because this is so far forward, for what the pose is. And then the next thing...
for me, I need this flat, like, rib cage thing, and then I can put the boobs on top of it. I don't know. That's so weird.
Yeah.
But you're, like, taking the whole shape of the chest into consideration.
Yeah, into consideration. Just because
That's cool.
For me, what I need to figure out is the overlapping shape first. I need to think about the shape that is closer to the camera and the things that are going to be below it. I've always said, when I do figure drawing, I'm visualizing the pelvis like home plate. I think it's because Snipin talks about hitting home runs and grand slams all the time. So yeah, but basically, if you put this in a 3-dimensional form, then here's the open portion of the swimsuit, and then there's where that leg would connect in, and this is where we're moving away. Again, you'll see all of this in 6 seconds when the stream catches up.
I know, right?
But that same thing here for her booty. I'm just getting that edge of. Where the swimsuit part is, and then it's just easier for me to figure out. The first pose that I do is always the absolute worst, because what I'm doing is I'm really just looking at the screen, and I'm just trying to regurgitate what I see as opposed to feel what I see, and that part is where I struggle, and that's why I have to personally do it a whole bunch. Foreshortening's got a little bit easier for me lately. I'm starting again. If you work on certain muscles, you start to see muscle growth. Not on my physical body, but when you're really working on skills and stuff like that, things tend to get a little bit easier. Next thing I'm gonna do, I'm looking at there's one shoulder that's up a little bit higher, since this one is what I'm seeing. So basically, chest, stomach, pelvis. Sometimes it's easier too just to go to the pelvis, and then you just kind of figure out sort of the in-between. Legs, I will put the feet down, but there's something that's really just calling me to the arms here. Now my arms are pushed further back than yours, so it looks like on this sketch we're losing just a little bit. There's a little bit more kind of overlap or foreshortening or whatever it is. I'm going to erase these lines because I wasn't really taking into account of the bicep and the tricep, everything that hits before the elbow. So I'm going to try to give a little bit more curvature to that. I don't necessarily need to put in hands right now, but I'm just going to try to put a couple of flat shapes. It is interesting though, because my hand shape reminds me a little bit about how you draw your torso, how we both recycle different shapes. To get us into the right spot. Now, again, I always leave the head to the last because...
So strange.
But I think a lot of it is a defense mechanism for me because I'm doing traditional art most of the time.
Sure. Makes sense.
And so it's how
Kinda.
I can resize. And so if you, oops.
I feel like I would end up with the head going off the page if I were trying to do that.
Well, so this was actually the thing that stopped me from drawing
Yeah.
the head off the
Accentuate
page.
the cake.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I'll get that.
That's what you say.
I'll push that
That's
cake.
what you say.
I'll push that cake. But I think a lot of people start like so high, and then like then there's one whole arm that's off the page, and you're like, well, shit, this is a
Yeah.
really good drawing, but the arm's off. This is how I
do that too.
avoid majority of that. But then then the head is going to go sort of right there. I'm thinking about the proportions between sort of shoulder to shoulder. I think a lot of us typically are like 2.5 or 3 head widths wide shoulder wise. But I have a friend, she's like 1.75. She has just really like sunken in shoulders that are like this. So I try to, if I was going to flatten this thing out, I try to think about sort of 3 head widths. And this is where the edge of the shoulder should be. But it's not perfect, and it changes kind of from person to person. And then the head is going up this way. Oh, man. So you've got the eyes, from what I can tell, such an interesting pose.
It's really weird.
It's not weird.
Plus,
it's,
I make her head big. I make the heads big in proportion to the body.
Guys, that was a joke, or that you're gonna get teed up for a good joke right there. Just run with that one. Let's see here. Because the interesting thing is, her eye line is kind of flat, like across the sphere. It is going up a little bit, but also her eye is kind of like curved down a little bit too. Oh man, this one will baffle me a little bit. And then, so then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to give you your cylinder right there. Now this is when I think your method with getting these shoulders put down would probably be really helpful for me.
Yeah, yours looks like she's got her shoulders back and her head up and back.
Yep, she does.
Rather than more of a concave chest and a head just sort of neutral.
Yep, 100%. Hi, Arts of Fact. It's good to see you. That is correct. And some of that is my lack of skill. Some of that is seeing things differently, trying to go back and forth and stuff like that. I think some of that, too, is the intimacy that you have with the pose because you understand it. Also, you have some of these parts, so you probably understand how they work a little bit better. That's a tough sentence to say.
Just pretend that you meant to draw it that way. You wanted to change the pose, so she's looking up more. I don't know.
Well, and again, with the draw this in your style, you have to adapt to the things that work for you, unless you want to try to do it as perfect as you can. So now this is the phase where I start to...
What's the fun in that?
I don't know. What's the fun in any of this?
Hi,
right?
Patty Puss.
I miss Patty.
Have you talked about Toon Blocks at all and his character Cherry?
Patty's been busy.
I don't know what
lately.
any of those things mean.
I don't like it when Patty's busy and can't hang out.
Quote unquote busy.
Oh, I suspect Patty's busy. So here I'm gonna put that. Now, just on this one, yeah, she is really, really, really pushed out. Her head is really pushed back. This is the benefit of digital illustration too. Oops, I'm on a rectangle. Let's freehand this one. Let's see if just a simple move could help. Maybe not. Let's go back to what that one is. Let's make her head bigger.
So I'm noticing a thing as well that's different in the way that you construct heads
Mm-hmm.
that I think is interesting, or not.
Talk
But
to me
like,
about it.
okay, so I'm thinking about the skull just like as a circle from like the cheekbones to the top of the head,
Yeah, draw it for
and
me.
then
Draw me what you're thinking.
I'm gonna exaggerate it. So like, here's the cheekbones. They're gonna be out here in front of the skull,
Where are you drawing right now?
and then Oh, can you not see it?
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry. Right here. So this is the skull from the cheekbones to the top of the head. So the eye sockets would be in there. And then I'm going to add another circle in front of that skull. And that's going to stick out in front of the eyes. So that's where the nose is going to go. And then the chin is going to be underneath that. So like if I were to turn this thing this way, like clockwise or counterclockwise and rotate it, my forehead is here, and then the muzzle or whatever of my face is kind of like sticking out. Does that make any sense? Whereas I think yours is sort of all on this one plane.
It is
Isn't
at the
that
moment. I understand what you're saying. No, I totally get. Leave that up. Leave that up. I think that's really good reference material. So tomorrow.
Not that either is better or worse. I'm just like noticing that there's a difference.
No, for sure. Tomorrow kicks off, and this is. It sounds like I asked her to segue, but tomorrow is the kickoff, the full kickoff of our
skulls
of our head construction workshops every Wednesday through the end of July. So tomorrow is the big kickoff of skulls, and so we're going to draw skulls from a bunch of different directions. I had most of it up on the screen, but I think I moved a couple things around.
Cute, Kevin.
Like this is going to be a good example of some of the stuff that we're going to work through, where we're going to try to draw really well proportioned skulls and understand not all of this stuff because it's not important, especially for the way that I cartoon. But we're going to try to understand how some bones connect really easily to other bones. And then over the course of the month, the goal is to draw really nice skulls, cartoon skulls, so really squish and pull and taffy and all that sort of stuff, and then start to lay musculature and facial features over top. So over the course of the month, we would have just a really good basis to be able to draw the human head. The way that when I, and again, this is probably where I think I'm deficient. When I draw a kid character, I start with a sphere. I put one line, and that line is typically my eye line, and my nose is really generally connected to that eye line. So when I draw Gil, Gil's little nosy goes right there. And then I generally draw that push up for his cheek, sort of like, and I think that's the part that you were talking about when you rotate your face, kind of that muzzle or whatever. And then that's where I push. And so when I draw kid characters, some monster characters or kids characters that are a little bit younger, I typically start with a one sphere construction. On an adult character, typically what I will do, so let's say our male character, because those are easier for me, I'm going to put some sort of identifying line, and that's typically going to be the eye line, whereas in the last one it could be the eye line and the nose line. And the bottom of the sphere, if we're looking down at it, is where the nose line is basically going to hit. And then, so if I'm going to chunk out some of the features here, I'm going to put the eyes right there. I'm going to put the nose right there. I'm going to put that bump out for the brow that all connects sort of right there. We have our cheekbones that kind of come down. Excuse me. And then that's where I tend to draw the stuff as it falls down. If we were going to skullify that, then these holes get bigger. This moves. That cheekbone can still sit there. It's way too cartoony, I think, for most of it. And then the way that I draw cheekbones on real life human characters versus like my cartoon characters is so different because this is pushed in way more.
But I think that's part of developing that go-to. That is your way of doing it, right?
Yep. And the goal tomorrow is, I think the bias will be, here's how I do it. But the goal is to try to see how many different connection points people can make and what really works for them. That's the part that I'm really excited about. When I am able to do stuff like this, I can typically rotate the head for the most part, like for whatever I need it to be. So here, this is where the ear is going to sit. This would be a funny test if I'm just so full of shit right now too. But like this is like, you know, sort of where his jaw sits, and if his mouth is going to be right there, you know, then that jaw is going to be turned right there, and then I can rotate this even further if I wanted to, and put more of a block right here, so you see very little of his nose and his brow, just with a couple of extra little lines, and then accentuating the depth of the skull as it goes backwards, and keeping everything on one plane. I would say the thing that I struggle with the most is, for my female characters, is I don't have a nose. I know I want to do, you know, kind of big eyes and stuff like that, big doe eyes, but a lot of times I don't have a nose. And because I was doing so many Harry Potter sketches and Gil sketches and stuff like that, my noses all tended to be these little, you know, Archie style nubs.
Yeah, just a little ski jump. That's all you need.
But I don't like it. It's not my jam. But then
I like it.
But then sometimes I struggle finding the nose that I really want to put into a piece. So, but yeah, this is typically how I construct. So it's funny though, because you saw that it was all on one sphere, because the head is tilted up a little bit, and there's so much more of the skull that's unseeable. This one is more on one plane. Plus, her chin isn't as long as some of the other ones. But if this was just a female character, 3/4 view, eye line, nose line, and then there would be an addition coming down from there. And she would be kind of that teardrop shape that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Hi,
For me,
Dakota.
I think it's that this part sticks out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
On the body though, and again, this is the fun part. Like I really notice how pronounced and pushed out. And then I saw Lindsay's comment about adding more cake. So this is where I would start to really come back through and try to see what I can push. Probably where I get lost too on that very first pose, trying to do something that is really referential to the image, and then I lose a lot of my personality because of it, because I'm just so tight.
Dude, that's key. I think you need to say that again, because I have that problem a lot. Where if I'm just like, I'm working off a reference and then I lose what makes me in my drawing.
Yeah, and it's always the first one for me. And then, because again, time is money, right? And also energy.
But then you have to redraw it, and that feels like a lot of time wasted, but it's not.
It does. So, and this is not, there's no self-congratulation here, but yesterday when I was working, I'm going to switch back to this. So I started a new thing for the month, just doing sketchbook
We're nerding
pages.
out over here, Anthem.
This is how it goes, man. Hi, Lizzie. But yesterday, this was my very first bunny, and it just, I thought it was cute, but it wasn't what I was going for. So then I made this one. It had more style. It had a little bit more energy to it, but it still wasn't it. And then I saw this one, and then I did that squish that we talk about and try to get all of the facial features into one tiny little portion. And I like that. And then I wanted to try to change it at that angle that we were talking about. And all of them could be fine on their own, but then I was really much happier with how this one turned out, because it felt much more like me, but I wouldn't have gotten to this one because I was really stuck on sort of like the dotted eyes, like the Calvin and Hobbes style eyes. And then today, I was trying to draw. So one of the suggestions was a harmonica playing Chihuahua. And if I had more time and knew how to draw fucking dogs, I was going to draw these two playing pickleball, but I couldn't. I didn't have time because I was at the dentist. But this was my first one. And I was looking at a picture of a Chihuahua, and I was like, So then I turned the reference off because I was trying too much to be like the picture, even though these are really goofy eyes, right? And then
My dog was a Chihuahua, so I can totally just do that from memory. They have the cutest head.
I did not honor your dog. I drew weird Chihuahua dogs. But then I turned it. Oh
my God.
And then I turned it one more
this.
time, and I went smaller. And that's one of the things that I think we need to recognize. I think Jack does it really well. I think Valley Dweller does it really well. Sometimes we start really big with our initial sketch, and the more that we simplify and make it smaller, you lose a lot of detail, but your silhouettes can get really, really, really strong.
And you're saving a lot of time by not drawing a big old huge thing and making it pretend that it's going to be the masterpiece.
Yeah, and
It's just a study. It's just a step.
Yep, and then you can get more stuff done. So yeah, that was my page today.
Yeah. I think that's huge. And I think it's like so many people stop after the first one and they're like, I suck. And I am so guilty of that too. And I've like written you in frustration, like, why did I have to draw this whole thing and then redraw the thing? And the redraw is always better. Like, why did I just keep going on the first one?
Yeah, the redraw tends to be better, right? The redraw tends to be...
redraw sooner.
Yeah.
But I always think like, oh, I'm just going to, I have this sketch and I'm not totally happy with it, but maybe once I have all of the color and shading and lighting in, I'll like it.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Yeah.
No. If you don't like the sketch, you're not going to like the finished drawing.
Yep. Hi, Lizzie again. The next thing I wanted to do real quick, because I do have the luxury of digital, is I duplicated the layer. You can't see it because you just can't see it. I duplicated the layer, so I'm preserving my original. So we always try to work non-destructively where we can. And I'm going up to an adjustment layer, and I'm going to go to the liquify tool. Liquify is awesome.
Love the liquify tool.
It's awesome for your pencil work. It's pretty shit for your finished ink work. Yeah.
It's a sketch tool.
If you're using a brush that has like any kind of extra texture to it, it's too fiddly. But this is where I will take and I will try to do... It wasn't working.
Excuse me.
What was that?
I burped, and I've been trying to have a good burp, and that was almost a good one. The other ones have been just like really sad and wimpy.
It's okay. You can have... I hope you have good burps. Good burps.
Hi, Peaches and Pancakes.
Hi, Peaches. So this is where I am going to try to do some pushing.
You're going to push it.
Yeah, this is
Give
where
it
we
some
push.
Cake.
And
some arch in that back.
And we try to, maybe we're going to push those boobs up a little bit.
Anthem says, oh no, nerd being nerdy. This is groundbreaking and has never happened on the stream before.
Yep. And so this is a really fun tool because now what I'm doing is I'm pushing that shoulder up a little bit. I'm pushing this other one down. I'm moving her nugget back. I'm going to make the size of this tool a little bit bigger. We're going to do a little bit of pushing there. I pushed her tatas up just a little bit. I like this arm.
Push her head forward too.
Well, how do you do that?
I don't know. Or don't.
Yeah,
it's your drawing.
Well, this is where I struggle. So this is where I just don't see it at the moment the way that you do, and that's where I have to really sit with it for a bit.
Now, granted, I'm on a delay.
Yeah.
If you put your cursor right where the cross lines of the face intersect and move it to the left like a centimeter, I think you're good.
We'll try that.
Add another circle.
So this will be fun to compare though. So these are just really subtle little things.
Yeah, which body part was the nugget?
Her head.
Oh.
Yeah. I would have said nuggets. No. But
that's the liquify tool, Sniping. It's a adjustment in Procreate.
Yep. You can get it in
liquify, and then the push version of it, because like liquify is a whole thing, right?
Yep.
And you can do weird things like twirl and pinch and expand, but like if you just keep it on push, it's like literally all you need. It's so cool.
Yep. So here's where I got to. So the layer that's up right now is the one that I originally did, and then this is the new version. And you can see how the shoulder is up a little bit higher. So now what I would do is then I would duplicate that.
I use the liquify tool constantly during my sketching. Like that's the sculpting and the adjusting that I'm doing all the time. I love it.
Yep. So now on this one, I'm re-liquifying a new version to keep my original one, and this is where I'm going to try concaving the chest a little bit more, and then I'm going to expand. I'm going to put a little bit of I'm going to try to expand the head a little bit, just make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to go back to the push, and we're going to do that. So I'm going to lift the chest a little bit, but I'm going to try to...
Hey, you guys, how do you think this stream's been?
I haven't asked one time, because you know what?
I know
it's been a good stream. Peaches and Pancakes, do you think this has been a good stream, even though you haven't been able to be
I'm
here?
having fun, so I thought I'd ask. I don't know if anyone else is having fun, but I'm having fun.
Yeah, I don't know either. Because I've not asked. Because I've not
Just
asked.
terrible. This is badly.
But so that's one more liquefy. So if it's hard to see.
Making that cake bigger is great.
Hell yeah, we'll do it one more time. So this is
Hell
the original
yeah.
one. This is the update where we have a different shoulder tilt. And then this is where
Voicelessness got here late, but I'm enjoying it.
Yay. And this is where I start to concave that chest. So push it in a little bit more to then push those shoulders out. And this is where you're able to start seeing stuff. Now, this is the tough part about like when you do or traditional art, which is what I do. You sometimes get stuck because it's not as easy to do this kind of thing. And so that's where you have to just do a lot of different poses. And that's where
like
you
there's
draw them
okay,
really
so
small.
when do you know to redraw it and when do you know to like liquefy it and push it around? Like when is it time to just scrap it and redraw? I'm having a great time, Amy Jo.
I don't know. So we talked about this on. I'm on the latest episode of the 3 Point Perspective podcast, which apparently is on YouTube today. I haven't even talked about it. We talk in that show about how much on average we get to draw on a daily basis, and I think Jake, Samantha, or Sam, the gal that we were with, and then myself, we typically get about 4 hours a day to draw. So sometimes
That's great.
that's the most that I would have, but honestly, it's 3 hours because I'm here on the stream, so I classify all of that as drawing. But I mean, let's be honest, most of it is just reading.
A lot of it is chatting.
Yeah, it's a lot of chatting. So some days there's an impulsivity to just get work done and just to grab the first pose and just make it happen. Other days I can get more into a thoughtful place and I can give myself a little bit of time. The sketchbook project that I'm doing right now, I'm dedicating 45 minutes a day and that's it. We don't need to do any more, but that's where I sat and played much more. And
in those 45 minutes, do you have a goal that you're trying to get through? Like
fill the page.
Just fill the page. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, if I go back to this particular one.
Steak, fajitas, some cherries, and now I have an Irish whiskey with dried apricots. Dude, Lio is living it up.
Lio,
over
that's
there.
awesome. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 45 minutes to fill this.
Yum.
The goal is just to get as much on the page as I could. Tomorrow, the goal will be finishing one chaotic draw along, pencils and inks and colors in about 45 minutes. And the other thing that I was trying to do on these was, we don't give ourselves very much time to tinker or goof around or play very often. Because again, time is money. We got shit to do. So a lot of times, like I won't take extra time to draw little stars or extra little skulls and stuff. But I have to remind myself constantly, the more that I put like these little spikes or the stars or the skulls or putting ears on the skulls, I know for certain I will find something. I'm trying to rush a lot of times to get stuff done. And then I ended up using those little star designs ultimately, and you'll see it in 6 seconds, on the star design on her shirt. I need to use one of the skulls on the helmet. So yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky blend though, isn't it? It's a tricky blend.
Yep.
Nope.
It is almost criminal for someone that likes to draw as much as we do to spend as much of our day as we do in Zoom calls and emails, it seems like.
Yeah.
It feels like torture.
Yeah. But as we are on the absolute dawn of things, everything being automated for us, I feel like at the same time we have to work for the things that we get. And so it's tough. I mean, do I want to like do accounting work or post to social media
Right.
sometimes? The answer is no. It does take away from my stuff, but there is a satisfaction on a day where we know like the team in total has just crushed it, and we're all sort of like, fuck, we did that. And then that's when it's worth it. Not all the time. Not all the time. I was going to say, though, real quick, before I did, and then we'll talk about this tomorrow, too. On her head, I always have to be careful that we make sure that the hair gets connected to the skull, and that sometimes when the head of the angle of the head changes, I have to be really thoughtful to make sure that the hair comes down in a realistic way. Like if somebody, like my mom always had a shaved head, you know, how that would sort of fold back and fold down. I always think on your illustrations, everything feels really natural in those hair flows. That you,
I think a lot about hair.
yeah, but
Sure.
but I think it really pays off. I think you do a really, really good job with
Thank
it.
you. Yeah,
And-
like
and
I think
They're just really good shapes.
I just really like drawing S shapes in general. So most of my hair is an S shape. But I think the key to that is it all comes out of the skull, like you were saying. Like it has places where it comes out of. It's not just like a wig sitting on top of your head.
How much?
And I don't know, maybe part of that is my obsession with 1930s and 40s hairstyles.
Yeah,
and
it's
that
that
stuff, too.
bombastic hairstyle where it was
Mhm.
super well done. At times really tight and
Coif.
tied back.
Coif?
And also,
Whatever.
it feels to me like you like that poster, and her name was just in my brain, but the poster of the gal in the red bathing suit, Farrah Fawcett, that one sort of like perfect image of her, where her head's going one direction, her body's going the other direction, and her hair is just incredible. It feels to me like that.
I don't know that one.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Now I have to look it
Maybe
up.
I do when I see
Oh
it.
my God! Hi,
I don't
Jamie.
have the kind of memory that you do, apparently.
Well, no, I can't remember a whole lot. I don't even know how to spell Farrah Fawcett. Nope, I have no idea how to even do that.
Like Farrah Fawcett hair. All I have is song lyrics in my head. It's good shit.
You guys know what I'm talking about, though. In the red bathing suit.
It was formative for Lio the Red.
Me too, dude. Me too. Thank you. This is where Google and their AI still sucks. Can't figure out that I'm trying to type in Farrah Fawcett. Are any of these nude? We just have to make sure.
Yeah, you always have to check.
This one. I see just
For raw.
in so much of what you do. I mean, this is a little bit more bombastic 80s as opposed to classy 30s.
The more bombastic, the better, is what I say.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I like that Anna Lou
You're-
says that
you're
their
seeing
only goal is to
that?
survive. Yeah.
In my
In the curvature of the hair on the
Cool.
especially around the ear, just the way that you get those great turns.
So what I've got in my head is like Jane Mansfield.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
And I know I can almost picture the image of Jane Mansfield that you were thinking of, because there's this where is it? Oh, there's this incredible image.
Like her Hollywood tryout audition study.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one? Oh my god.
This is where we go down the rabbit hole. This is where our ADHD. No, this one wasn't Jane Mansfield.
This is what we've already done that a few times.
But like this image, this is I bet this kind of stuff is in your brain at all times. You'll see it.
Waiting. Delay. Waiting. Yes.
Yeah.
Grace Kelly.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
And also too,
finger
notice the
waves.
hump on her, not the hump, but like that curvature of her shoulder, that rounded curvature.
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah,
I might
I
have
think
even pulled up, it wasn't this exact picture, but I did pull up a picture of somebody with their chest so I could like figure out where to draw the little collarbone lines and stuff.
yeah.
For sure.
I think one of my big takeaways from today will be that line. Again, I think much more about collarbone as I do sort of the flow of the back. This is an easier pose to do that with too, but I think it's going to be one of those things I think about a lot. Hi, Spicy John. What's
Yeah.
going on, dude? Again, I'll reset real quick too. So for anybody who just got here, we are doing a conversation today with Princess PJs. She is an illustrator and she streams here on Twitch. And a while back, I asked her if she'd be willing to do a Draw This in Your Style challenge, where we take one of her just incredibly gorgeous pieces and we all draw sort of our version of it. So today is the kickoff of that. If you want more information about the Draw This in Your Style, just DTIYS. Dyslexia is hard. And you basically get a month before we're going to do a fully finished showcase. And I'm going to be doing my version, and I bet a bunch of other people are going to be doing theirs. And it's going to be really fun. It's going to be really, really, really fun. So we did 3. Hi, Casey Snow.
For inviting me to do this.
Oh, of course.
Exciting.
I think it's just perfect. It's just perfect. We did the first 2 with our buddy Silent Spoons and then Rosmere. Really a heavy focus on the female form and pinups and things like that. As we get into the fall, we're going to be really focused on cute and creepy. And so we're going to switch up the theme for the next couple of months. And on the channel, if you guys have been around for a little bit, we've been doing a lot of figure drawing on our Wednesday workshops. And I really wanted to take advantage of all 3 of their skill sets, Silent Spoons, Rosmere, and obviously Princess PJs, because we learned a ton in our figure drawing stuff, and now time to put it all into action. So get wrecked. Sorry.
Wow.
Yep. I'll go back into the Discord real quick and see if there's any more, and then I think I'm in a good place that I can start to really think about how I want to draw this. If I want to do it digitally or traditionally. Oh, look at that hair. Look at that hair. Mudworks, thank you for doing so many shout outs. I really appreciate it. Casey Snow, how have you been? Casey, I've been doing big lurkies on your stream, and it's so cool to see you get a bunch of huge raids and all sorts of fun stuff and lots of eyeballs on your work. So I'm just erasing some of the stuff that's kind of mucking up my brain a little bit. Yeah, at the moment, yeah, go ahead.
Also, notice on the profile that's on Jane Mansfield on the lower left, a lot of people tell me that the women that I draw look like Gina Davis, and Gina Davis might have the same skull structure. But notice how far forward her nose, mouth, chin line is from her head.
Yeah.
There's like an L.
Yeah.
It like sticks out so far, and I think that is so cute.
Yep.
It doesn't show it as much on the top right profile, and I don't know exactly what that is, but it's really accentuated in that bottom left profile. And so I definitely exaggerate that on the faces that I do.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Skyclops. Spicy says I've been here the entire stream. Sorry, Spicy. My brain has been tiny today. It is interesting because her forehead is pushed in more, and then there's this strong jaw cheekbone. The cheekbone really pushes the flesh of her skin forward. What's the sexiest you think Gina Davis? I'm so curious with the chat and what you will say. What do you think the sexiest? Not to trivialize her, she's ever been in a movie, and I'm waiting for people's answers. There is one movie where I saw as a teenager, and I was like, oh boy. Gina Davis is pretty.
She's very pretty. And I've had that come up a few times lately where somebody I've drawn without Gina Davis in mind, and someone will say, it looks like Gina Davis. And I think just because the face structure naturally of Gina Davis is what I'm kind of going for when I'm exaggerating and doing that push-pull of the chin and the nose and stuff.
Yeah. Okami says League of Their Own. Yes. Beetlejuice. Cutthroat Island is the one that I am thinking of.
What was the one where she was an assassin? Or she like...
Oh, with Samuel L. Jackson?
I can't remember.
Oh, I can't remember either. But Cutthroat Island
she started the whole first of the
Nice.
movie with amnesia. Is that the one? Yep. And then once she finally remembers herself, that's hot.
Yeah, that's a Long Kiss Goodnight. Lio says Anthony would dig World War II pinups. Yeah, 100%. That is my... I'm a big World War II military nerd. To say I love that era is very weird. But I really have a strong appreciation for that era and the clothing of the era and the men and women of that era. Minus probably the rampant, racism and sexism and all that sort of stuff. The those are the lines of all the clothes and stuff that I really love and appreciate. Before we head out, I wanted to. There's 5 or 6 more into Discord. First of all, here's Maddie's. Yes, look and see Maddie turned that pose a little bit too, and then really lifted that that arm up, and that's a really awesome.
Ooh.
Yeah, like you can see how the chest is then moving
And
up into
then-
that shoulder muscle.
She's all the way up on the surfboard too. That's cute.
Mhm. Yeah, just
That's
a
pretty.
just a subtle angle change, right?
And I like that the wind is flowing through her hair. Her hair's much more wind blown.
Yep. Yeah.
That's pretty.
I now see something because I'm comparing Maddie's face to your face, and now I see what I'm missing on the one that I did. If I want to keep it
Nice.
just like yours, and that's again, this is where comparison is a tough thing, but this is where doing some level of comparison can be interesting.
Is Long Kiss Goodnight a great Christmas movie?
Oh, so you'll see it here in a second. So Valley Dweller is drawing this from down up, so the worm's eye or fish eyes view. Hoofda. Hi, Phoenix. Welcome in, dude. Mud says, I've never seen Cutthroat Island, but Gina Davis is a pirate. Yeah. And there's corsets and
Damn.
swords. I mean, it's a lot.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I want to see that.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah.
Corsets? I'm in.
Yep. Nice work, Valley. Here's Kelly's. Look at her updated tank girl. Switch the angle a little bit, too. I'm going to shrink this down so it's easier to see.
Hi, Phoenix.
Yeah. I liked the first pose quite a bit, but I do like that we are shifting things a little bit more to a side profile, but we're still turning just a little bit. That's a really
Cool.
well-drawn foot,
Cool.
too. Yeah, you can feel like this thing is just flying. I've only drawn Tank Girl once. I need to draw Tank Girl more. Outstanding missile boobs.
Torpedoes. I can't look at anything else but the missiles.
When do you see this next one? I don't want to say it's worse.
I'm ready. Oh God.
This is like if
we got a little more arch to the back. We got a little more muscle definition. Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it
I
is
think
terrifying.
We have human legs and toes, and that tongue.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's
Oh no.
This one would be a tough one to describe to your therapist, but keep at it. Please keep at it. Here's Farrah Fawcett.
Oh my God.
In
legs.
Waterpop's absence, Dinky has taken over drawing all the weird things that we say here on stream, and putting the puns behind them. He's evolving, says Thunder Bristle.
Oh.
Yeah,
What
Thunder
is-
Bristle.
oh.
Remember, if you do make that a male horse and you put a giant, you got to put a spoiler tag. I learned that the other day. Can't just draw that stuff, you know. Dinky, you're ridiculous. And then here's
Wow.
Sharn of the Connecticut charts
Masterpiece.
doing yoga on the surfboard. Is this a paddleboard?
As you do?
Can you do yoga on a surfboard, or does it have to be like a paddleboard?
Probably not on a short one like this, but maybe on a longboard.
Yeah. Pretty awesome.
Wow.
I don't even know. I wouldn't even know how to start this one.
Well, you connect the shoulder
Start with
bones
the chest
to
and-
the elbow bones,
Yeah, you would.
and you're close.
You would. You
Probably
would.
paddleboard. Yeah,
Yep. Perfect, guys.
that's cool.
This is great. I feel like we got to a really good spot today, and I think these are fun conversations to have.
Thanks for letting me nerd out on your stream, guys.
I think both of us did, and now, yeah. So what I was observing that I wasn't necessarily seeing before, so I'm gonna duplicate this, and I'm gonna turn this one off. Is the way that you have it. I had more of a curve. You have a starting point a little bit more in the center of the forehead. and the way that it turns is just a little bit different. It's looking more at us as opposed to being curved away. And then that nose is kind of flippy right there. That one's going to be a tough one for me. The other thing that I noticed too is that when I was drawing my swimsuit area, you have this other leg is so visible, and I'm gonna have to figure out how that works. These are all the great challenges of the.
I think it's easy to assume that she's straddling the surfboard, but
Yeah.
I think she's actually got one foot under her butt.
Yeah. That's how I sit most of the time, is 1 foot under. No, for real. This is just the only way I can.
No, that's apparently an ADHD thing. We can't just sit with our feet on the ground. I don't know why.
The other thing too is you have this. Yeah, this is gonna be a tricky one for me because this leg is pinned out further, so these knees are much further apart than what I've given it credit to. And then you also have this curve right there.
Yeah.
And there's that teardrop. I think too, when we think about hips, we think about, and it's difficult. It's almost like there's this rod that goes sort of from one side, would connect like internally through the, and maybe I have to do this up a little bit higher. Would connect and sort of follow its way all the way through, and then would wander out the other side if it could. So these things are in nice alignment. Yeah, I'm gonna have to study this one quite a bit. This is gonna be a really fun challenge. It's gonna be a tough one for me, which is again why I wanted to do this. I was thinking
he picked the one that he thought would be the hardest for him.
You got to get better, right? You got to get better.
Yeah. Admirable.
What happened in my brain is, because I was drawing an ice cream cone earlier too, is I thought it'd be really cute if she was in
ice cream cone.
If she was in a sexy ice cream cone.
That would be amazing. Please do that.
So we shrink this down, and then there's like drips everywhere. Like she's the topping on top of the ice cream cone. I know it's silly, but that's immediately when I saw it, I was like, my brain, this is what my brain wants to draw. She's the topping.
It's meant to be.
Yeah.
These are being showcased July 30th, right? Tuesday the 30th.
Yeah. Valley Dweller said draw a circle. Valley Dweller just
went, Dr. Ogres.
There's my circle right there. Dr. Ogres, thank you, dude. Thank you for the 23 months. How are you, man? Dustin, it's good to see you. Princess PJs, as we wrap things up, is there anything that you have out that you would like more eyeballs on? Are there any products that you've released recently? Any of that sort of stuffs?
I would just like people to hang out with me on Instagram and on Twitch, but I did release a lighting and shadows basics ebook. It's not specific to digital. It's just where the heck do you put your shadows and how does lighting work? It's pretty what's the word, like fundamentals, conceptual. You can see that pinned on my Instagram if you go there. So everything's on my Instagram, and I would just like to be friends. That's all.
That's it? Just friendship? Just a heaping dose of friendship? What if somebody draws a half human, half horse on a surfboard? You still want that friendship?
That would be amazing. Absolutely. Yes, Badger Makes is true. I want to draw all your faces in my streams.
Yeah.
So I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday evening, and then I draw you guys. I do portraits, caricatures.
Are you streaming tomorrow on 4th of July Eve?
Oh, shoot. It is 4th of July. I wasn't planning on canceling, and I don't see why I would. So I think I will stream on Wednesday, on tomorrow evening.
Yeah.
And let PJ draw your face, says Zach.
Yep. So this ebook is only $7. So if any of you, I know I've had a couple conversations lately about lighting and shadow, hot spots, reflective light, that sort of thing. So this would be a really cool place to start, and it's all in one little ebook too. Yeah, and then on that link, just right off of Instagram, and it's also in her, it's in her PJs link. But then you can get back over to the print shop, to Redbubble, and other ebooks and stuff that she's put together, blog posts and things like that.
Badger, I will never get tired of drawing your face over and over.
You draw a really good badger.
She's so cute.
She is. She's adorable. Do you have any suggestions to steer a raid tonight? I know that's a lot of pressure.
Oh my gosh, the pressure. I don't know
Mhm.
who's on, you guys. Does anybody have any
You're just
requests?
immediately turning this over to other
That's
people.
what I
asked
do.
you.
I cannot make decisions to save my life.
I
And
know.
so Twitch is
I
like
know.
the best thing that ever happened to me because you can just poll
Yeah.
or flip a coin or
I did get a
let's go to
suggestion from
Proco
Polly.
where nobody's moderating.
Yeah.
They stream
Mm-hmm.
and can't answer any questions. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Do you guys even know what Twitch is about?
I don't think they do. I did get a suggestion from
Really?
Polly Schlemazel that I should do this as she's on a hot dog, not a hot dog,
I'm
a
Tony Wheeler. The
banana
characters
split. Fucking hell!
guy.
I got stuck there with like cherry on
you
top.
wanna learn to draw?
I've done a
It's
couple of
me,
those banana split
Tony.
pinups.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Pretty cute.
Straddling
It's
the
me,
banana.
Tony. We gotta draw today.
Yeah,
You got
it
your
happens.
characters ready?
Greeny Bean, get wrecked. Here's a couple folks that I see on. We've got Burnaby, Michael Howe, Lanny, Paul, Lauren's Layer. She's super fun. Spiced Illustrations, obviously a vibe. Mike Disney's pretty cool. Reagan, who does anthropomorphic stuff along with Damage. Insomniac, Touch of Chaos. Julie's doing some streamings. Blue Skittle. There's a
Lauren Slayer sounds fun. I don't know that person. Let's
That's,
meet a new friend for me.
So Lauren does animation, illustrator,
Nice.
game development, stuff like that.
Raid Paul. He's doing an art sale this weekend, says Kevin.
It's up to you. You have to be the one to choose it. That's how it works. Yep.
Void Brush is streaming. Really cool guy. Raid Paul.
Okay, you got it. I love Paul. Paul's great. Guys, I'm going to dial this up. Thank you so much for hanging
Thanks
out
again
today.
for having me. This was fun.
Thanks for doing it. I think this is a really awesome, not prototype, but I think this is a really good proof of concept for what a really thoughtful art show can be between two people, where we get into
Nerds.
some bullshit and stuff like that, but at the same time, like I think really diving into thought process, all that stuffs. I think
I
don't know.
really like how you drew the hair too.
Well, thank you. I was compensating
It's
for.
big. It's big and bombastic.
It's all it's got to be. It's all it's got to be. But no, I'm excited to do more of these things and to dive more into process and storytelling and ideas and concepts and stuff like that. So, you guys
this was
rock.
fun.
Thank you so much for hanging out today. Again, tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern, we're going to be doing our skull workshop. So if you've ever had an interest to figure out how the human skull works, how the jaw opens, some of the different planes of the face and things like that, that's what we're going to do tomorrow. And that's going to be a big kickoff to how we draw the human head and how we cartoon the human head and how we can come up with some really cool best practices. So yeah, I'm super pumped. So it'll be every Wednesday for the rest of the month. So yeah, get wrecked, nerds. I love you guys. Thank you. Thanks for everything. It's super fun.
Thank you.
We're going to go press this button.
Bye.
Everybody go say hi to Paul. Love you guys.
Bye.
And press the stop streaming button. Let's see if it went through.